Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Hi, Meow Meow.
Hi, Ruff Ruff.
I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yeah.
This is our first podcast coming out as our true selves.
We're furries.
Yeah, we've been holding it in forever.
This is my true identity. And you know what? It just eats me alive to not tell how we met at a furry con.
Well, we didn't know that we met there. Remember?
Well, yeah, I didn't know who you were for a long time.
Yeah, we didn't know. I'm like, oh my God, you're Meow Meow?
Dude, it blew my mind. I mean, to me, that is proof we're in a simulation. Because what are the odds?
They're not good.
What are the odds, man?
The
that I
odds
would
are
be-
also not good that I'm going to keep this fucking helmet on. Oh my God, I'm
This is
sweating.
not good for me. I'm not keeping this on, dude. It's a
I can barely breathe.
How do they do it?
I don't know. They fuck with these things on.
How do you fuck with this on?
They're heroes. Those
total
people are
respect.
heroes.
Total respect for furries now.
Respect for the furry community. Look, I got
Holy,
the
it's
feet
like-
on and everything.
It's like Bikram fucking.
Yeah. It's very hot in here. If you can fuck with this on, you're an American hero.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
David Goggins needs to put on one of these things and
Yeah.
fuck for an hour.
He should. Yeah, you think you're so cool running for 1,000 miles? How about fuck for 4.5 minutes with this on?
I can't fuck for 4.5 minutes without it on, but
This is like sprinting uphill.
this is really brutal. And just thinking about padding around a Ramada in one of these things.
But I
don't-
get it.
Orlando
How-
outside
what do you
during
mean
the
you get it?
summer.
I get it when I put it on. I get it. I know why they do it. I don't know why all of them do it.
Wait,
I'm
why?
really
Why
having
do
a
you
hard
think
time
they do
breathing.
it?
I think they do it because it offers you an anonymity that is impossible any other way.
Right.
And it turns you into your image, the visual that people get of you is this adorable, cute mascot.
Right.
Everybody loves a mascot. The mascot is literally there to pump everybody up and yay, and they don't talk and everybody loves them.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the people at Disneyland, same thing.
Wait, they don't talk?
No, they don't talk. Like if you meet Goofy, Goofy doesn't say jack shit to you. We went to Goofy's kitchen. Goofy doesn't talk.
Yeah, it's like
I can't.
I can't do it. Oh my god.
It's so hard to breathe. It's so hard to breathe in these
Horrible.
things. How about those fucking people that work at Disneyland that wear these things and they
Jesus
walk around in the
Christ.
heat in the summer? Respect to them.
Dude, those Disneyland, like the people who do this at Disneyland,
Heroes.
they party.
I bet they do.
I heard it's like insane when they get off work. Like
I'm
they
sure.
fucking party.
First of all, it's not even their fault. Their brains have been cooked all day. Do you know what kind of effect that must have
Oh
on
my
your
God.
cognitive function?
Dude, like while we're bitching because they made us wear masks on planes, they're going around in a hot box.
I bet they made them wear a mask under their stupid mask.
Guarantee it.
I bet they
Guarantee
did.
it.
I bet they did. Those,
Yeah,
those
mask
fucking
up.
dorks.
You had to mask up in your goofy outfit.
You got good outfits though. These are dope.
Dude, these are incredible, and it's kind of sad that
We can't. We're pussies.
of all the costumes we've worn,
Yeah.
I think this is the least time we've spent. Like,
Yeah.
even the hoods.
But I was like almost like hyperventilating in there.
Dude, I was panicking. Oh, dude, you can see this awful wall.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But don't you get it though? If you were like a very tortured, socially awkward person,
Yes.
your life has just been a mess, but you are, for whatever reason, attracted sexually to the idea of it, or maybe not even
Yeah.
sexually, maybe just attracted to the idea of it. But then you do it, and you get to be not just innocuous, not just like someone that doesn't get, like someone that gets picked on, not that, but instead attractive. You're this adorable thing. You're adorable, like hey, and they come
Yeah.
up to you with a different energy.
Dude, I've seen some really hot furry porn. Like, I've seen some incredible furry porn.
What's the worst furry point? Have you ever seen something like, God, you guys aren't even trying?
Those are still shots usually, like weird Polaroids and stuff of like so, and generally those are like solo furries who are banging a stuffed animal. Like, you know, that sucks. That's not cool. That's not cool. But
What do they do? Like put a fleshlight in a stuffed animal?
No, they don't. They're not that advanced. They just rip a hole in the in the fucking thing's butt and just like leave their crusted jizz on it as some mark of achievement or something. Really bad. Really bad.
Human beings are so weird in so many ways.
Yes.
In so many ways. But it's like, it's so funny. It's like media, like Norman Rockwell paintings. There's this like image of us that we are when we're at our best. The family dinner table in a 1980s movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's us when we're at our best. Everyone's getting along. How's school going, Junior?
Yeah.
Junior's doing great. But the reality is, like, there's no license to get a person. You don't have a license to become pregnant. You don't have to go through any qualification process.
Right.
It's literally the most important thing for the future of the human race.
Yeah.
That people who have children and raise those children are capable of doing it. You're capable of raising a well-adjusted person.
Yeah.
Like any person growing up as a human being today, baby to grown up. Like you're born today and you got to become a grown up in this fucking wacky world.
Yeah.
Good luck being normal.
Oh my God. This is having kids right now and like just having like a vague understanding of Kurzweil's predictions for the singularity.
Yeah.
And just like considering like, you know, with my kid, I will tell him like with the car, I'm like, you know, probably when you're old enough to drive, they won't have steering wheels anymore. You're probably not going to be driving the way I do. Because definitely, don't you think like
if they can just prove, see, there's meatheads like me that'd be like, fuck that, bro. I want to drive my own fucking car.
Yeah.
But if they can eliminate all deaths, you're going to have to take cars like that to a track. You're gonna have to take the cars that I enjoy. You're gonna have to take them to a track and drive them around.
Sure.
They're gonna be rides. It's not gonna be your transportation.
You don't think in 10 years that it's going to?
It's very possible. Very possible. It'll be a rule fight. Like there'll be some dispute about whether or not people accept that.
Oh,
It's going to be a freedom issue with a lot of folks.
It is a freedom issue.
It is. It certainly is if you have a totalitarian government, because there's only one way that a car can drive itself autonomously. It has to be connected to like insane technology that allows all sorts of things, like what a Tesla does. Like you get updates online on your Tesla. They just send you an update.
Sure.
They fix things. They make things better. They make the auto driving feature better. If that's the case, like if somebody just decides to shut your car off, you're not allowed to drive, Duncan. We don't like your views on COVID vaccines.
No,
Bam.
Saw your tweets.
Yeah, I don't like the way you think about the world and life and love.
Yeah.
You're confusing people.
Yeah, you didn't jog today.
You don't think exactly the way I want you to think. So we're going to steer you and everybody who's paying attention in the same direction. And the everybody's paying attention part is huge. Because there's more self-policing than there is policing. There's more people that get scared of not going along with narratives than there are people enforcing those.
You know what
narratives.
that's called? Cops in the head. Ooh. That's a name for it. Cops in the head. It's like, this is when I was in college. I don't remember what who like came up with it, but basically they're studying like neighborhoods that had like huge police presences, you know, like bad areas, like hyper low income areas that like just like that well, I mean, you could do the math and like so basically the cops realized like they didn't have to patrol anymore after a certain amount of time because people assimilate the police state inside of them. And just like you're saying, now you're policing yourself.
Yeah.
And that is the ultimate when you think about like trying to save money, when you think about controlling populations, or when you think about like, you know, the huge problem of like empire is like once you spread out too far, it's incredibly expensive to keep everything supplied and everything in control and to keep your like commanders doing what you say. And so, you know, the best thing for an empire is for people to not even know that they're there, but to be like following the general prescription of the emperor, you know?
Ooh.
That's the ultimate empire. You don't put up statues of yourself.
Right.
Don't like put your fucking face on the coin. What you want to do is get your philosophy into the brain of the people that you have.
I think the
colonized.
problem today is that there's so many more interesting narratives than the official narrative. There's
Yeah.
it used to be that you had a president that would stand up and talk to people, and he would give these speeches that everyone would listen to.
Yeah.
And that's Eisenhower at the end of his terms when he's warning America about the military-industrial complex.
That's so creepy.
There's a machine. He's warning us, that there's a machine that wants to go to war.
Yeah.
And you have to be very careful of that. He's warning us about that. And this is like, you could tell the next president to not ever say that, and everybody else sort of steps in line. So you tell the next president, don't talk about that. You talk about the conflicts overseas. You talk about the desire to spread democracy.
Yeah.
And that you talk about these people that are a threat to everyone because they have weapons of mass destruction. Like you got to follow a very, very, very specific narrative.
Right.
And that's all we had forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And so there was all these people that would have cocktail parties and they would meet at coffee shops.
Yeah.
And they'd go, do you know what's really going on?
Right.
Because this is what I think. I think the CIA is giving people LSD. Like, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know those meetings where people in South Central were like, I think the government's bringing drugs in here. And everybody's like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
No way. They wouldn't do that.
Right.
They wouldn't do that. But if you were, look, let's pretend you're a really good guy and you're a government agent.
Right.
You're the best. You want nothing but freedom in America and spread democracy around the globe. But Congress won't approve funding some rebels. And there's the only one way. You got to get this guy out of office.
Right.
This guy's not playing ball. He's
Yeah.
not with the agenda. He's a terrible dictator.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of him. And we need to fund this. We need to fund these rebels. So we're just going to sell some drugs.
So crazy.
But if you think about the fact that if you're in the DEA or if you're in the CIA or the FBI or any like major intel organization, they know the futility of the amount of drugs that are being brought into this country. And there's a reason why, because there's a demand in this country.
Right.
You're not going to change it. You're not going to change it. And you see all these fucking scumbags making billions.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why don't I make some fucking money?
Right.
Why don't we make some fucking money and do some good with it?
Right. Sure.
That's the Oliver North story.
Dude, here's the perfect business model. You create a situation where you are selling drugs to people and then arresting them and taking your drugs back, plus all their stuff, and then reselling the drugs, rinse and repeat.
And you know who to arrest because you're selling
You're
it to
selling
them.
it to them. You just call your friend. And you just keep, it's basically like throwing out fishing nets, man. You just throw out the nets, let them sell the drugs long enough to get a shit ton of money, some nice cars, pull the nets back in. You got the drugs, you got the cars, you got the money. It's an incredible, and also I'm sometimes suspicious regarding like the idea that they incinerate the drugs that they
Of course.
they confiscate.
Why would they?
Why?
Someone come along, go, we got that. We'll take care of it.
Yeah,
for
we'll
you.
take
We'll
it.
incinerate it.
Take it to the incinerator.
Some fucking guys who look like they just got out of the Naval Academy. Like, we got it.
Yeah, we got it. No problem.
Yeah, and they fucking escort that off to some special boat.
Yeah, and there's a precedent for this. I mean, this isn't
Yeah.
conspiracy. Like, that was proven. That like this shit is. Remember that CIA plane that crashed with all the cocaine in
Yeah,
it?
tons. Fucking shit ton of
Tons of
cocaine in it.
cocaine.
It was overweight. That's why it crashed, because it had so much coke in it.
Greed took them
I
down.
think it had something crazy, like 1,000 pounds of coke.
That is so much coke. I can't even imagine how much coke that is.
How much was it? How many pounds was it?
3.3 tons.
Oh my God!
3.3. How much does an elephant weigh? How many elephants worth of coke is that?
Oh.
Dude, that's crazy. That's CIA coke too. That's not bad coke.
No.
That's like something incredible in
Oh
there.
my God, it's pure. It's
Pure.
rock flake. The stuff that Eric Clapton used to get.
Jesus Christ, it just makes your entire body go numb. I don't like coke though. But
Do. Look at all the coke that he had.
oh my God.
That's insane. Oh my God.
That is fucking crazy. Look at that.
I can't get this fucking.
Yeah,
far
it
out
happened
right
to me
there.
in the 5 seconds I had it on too. It's a bunch of little hairs.
Holy shit, man.
You want a napkin or something?
No, I'm all right.
How many bags of that do you think it consumed at like an average Coachella?
How many bags of that did Joey Diaz do during his prime? That's what I want to know. What is Joe? That might be like Joey Diaz's cocaine career right there.
Oh man, that'd be so cool if there was a way to look at all the drugs you've done. Like if you could, like, have them laid out in front of you over the course of a lifetime.
Oh
That
my
would
God,
be-
you'd be terrified. It'd be a room.
It would be exciting.
The amount of weed,
Oh, dude.
the volume, just the sheer volume.
Booze.
Oh,
Just think all of it.
Right.
Just fucking piles of ketamine. Wow.
and if you could do a chart to the size of your room versus the bad decisions you've made in your life, I bet you would find some correlations.
Yes, that's for sure.
100%.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you do have to. I mean, there's just no way around it. This is why I think karma is a wonderful and perfect way to articulate this, which is just like where you're at, everything around you, that's your karma. Like that's you. This is your karma. And then I love that because it keeps me from like going victim. And you look around at everything, you're like, whatever it is, good, you did that for yourself. Bad, you did that to yourself, and you just have to deal with it. But there's
But
another.
not necessarily, right? Babies get shot in drive-bys.
Well, yeah, okay, yes, the baby thing. I mean, I've heard, there's some like theoretical. There's two ways to look at it. One, Occam's razor. It's the same problem like theists face in trying to explain why awful things happen to babies.
You know what I think?
What?
I think karma's an element. It's
Yeah.
an element of existence, but it's not a rule. It's like they're evil people live to be 100, get away with it.
Well, for karma to really work, you need reincarnation. That's where the math goes into the unquantifiable. So so for karma to really work, it could work in a very simple mechanistic way with just one life, but the idea is that there's different types of karma. So there's the karma that's happening right now. This is like flowering karma. But there's karma like seeds of shit that you did a while ago. Like when all of a sudden like someone calls you up and is like, "Hey, I'm your son." And you're like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, I'm your kid." That's like that seed has been in you, and then it grows into the present moment. And then there's karma that's the same idea but from past lives. So that's where it gets really fucking weird. And I guess there's some like very blurry way you could connect that to epigenetics. You know what I mean? It's like epigenetics is sort of the way like you get reincarnation into biology, except it's obviously not reincarnation, it's your ancestors. But it's essentially the same concept, except one is quantifiable, the other is mystical.
I wonder if epigenetics is if you're imparting some of your mind, some of your thinking to a child.
Yeah.
I wonder what effect it would have at the age you were when you had the child.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
Like,
you're
Al Pacino's kid is going to be amazing.
amazing.
He's 82.
82.
Shooting live rounds
Incredible.
into a 29-year-old hottie.
And people are fucking mad at him.
What are they mad at?
They're mad because they think if you're that old,
You're not going to be able to care for that child. Yeah.
well, that's to me, that's the most logical. If you are going to be such an asshole that you're criticizing Al Pacino for procreating, don't you want more Pacinos? He's a great fucking actor, and but the other one is just like that age gap is insurmountable. And
Well, I don't think it was his idea.
no,
Yeah, I think he didn't have a paternity test. Exclusive, this is a real special coming at this time. Al Pacino, 83, breaks silence to celebrate 29-year-old girlfriend's pregnancy after claims he demanded paternity test because she hoodwinked him. Yeah, there it is. The actor revealed his girlfriend, Noor Al-Fala, were expecting last week. Initial reports claimed that Al was not pleased over the baby. But how do we know? You know, it's like
I don't
people
know.
say things like that.
Because look, right underneath
Which
it,
he
it
has
says-
now confirmed.
Underneath it says has voiced his delight.
Sources told Daily Mail that wasn't true, which is now confirmed. So that means it wasn't true.
Not true.
They didn't hoodwink him.
Yeah.
See the way they phrase that? That's weird. Sources told Daily Mail that wasn't true, which he has now confirmed. But look at the headline. Yeah. Look at the headline.
Fucking assholes.
This
man.
is so crazy. They're basically saying this is not true. So he's delighted to have a baby with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so people made up this story, and we read it because it's the headline.
Why not just be like Al Pacino chopped his kid into bits, and then underneath say he didn't chop his kid into bits?
Look, he's walking around. He's smiling. He
He
says
looks
it's very
great.
special. Yeah. Listen, man, them anti-aging doctors, get him on the happy sauce. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Look at that.
Look, he's wearing comfortable shoes. I would wear
He's
those
fucking cool. Look at that.
shoes. I would wear those shoes. It's old men's shoes.
Wow.
Look at him. Looks fine.
He looks
He's out
great.
going for walks.
How old is he?
Hey, who's that with him? No, that's that other actor guy, isn't it? No.
He looks like Andy Garcia a little bit. but
Yes,
it's not-
that's
it's
what I
not
was going
him.
to say. You sure? No?
I'm pretty
It's probably
sure.
his friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, things to do in Denver when you're dead. Underrated movie.
I don't think
Andy
I ever
Garcia.
saw. I never saw that.
It was like their version. It was like when Pulp Fiction had just come out and everybody wanted everything to be fucking cool.
Okay.
And things became cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I remember
It was
that.
cool.
That's got to be cool for Tarantino to like watch his shit echo out, like to watch it shape culture. That's so badass that you
It's
can do that.
amazing. He's
Yeah.
very important. He's very important because he's grandfathered in. Like his movies are fucking bananas.
Yeah.
Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was fucking crazy.
So great.
And he's grandfathered in a way like you know what a Tarantino movie is.
Right.
Have you seen Kill Bill? Have you seen Inglourious Basterds? Have you
Yeah.
seen these movies?
Yeah.
Then shut the fuck up because you know what you're in for.
Right.
Whereas I think if you were a young director and that was like your first film, people would go, the violence was so unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was so egregious. It was so, like the language, the way they talk. People would find criticism in it, I think.
You see in interviews, he is like so frustrated with the like endless question he gets from hack reporters who are like, violence. What about the violence?
Yeah.
Like he just is done with that. It must be. I mean, it's so annoying to get that same question over to make great movies. What? Like when did journalism turn into scolding? Because it wasn't the idea like you ask people questions, but there isn't a moral twist to it. Or am I imagining it?
No,
Was
you're
like
not
that?
imagining it. Well, Barbara Walters used to do it a little bit. That was like she was kind of famous for being a tough interview. She'd interview people and ask them like uncomfortable questions.
Yeah. But it's like when it's got that, it's not even like they're asking you questions about shit you lied about.
Right. They're making a moral judgment on you.
They're essentially saying, why are you a bad person?
Right. Why are you making movies that show horrible things?
Yeah.
You're contributing to this horrible culture we have, which is not true. That doesn't really work. Like that correlation doesn't work because when you look at some countries, like I think is it Japan that has a very high rate of they play a lot of violent video games, but they have way less violence.
Oh, yeah, right.
Is that it? Did I read that? Like they've tried to make correlations between violent video games and actual violence.
That is so dumb.
And some people think that it might actually have the opposite effect. That there is a potential in some humans that they play those violent video games and they would get out any kind of wild, crazy instinct that they might have. Like, I want you to imagine if epigenetics are real.
Yes.
If you're really, there's a certain amount of us, they're imparting memories of being in war to other kids.
Yeah.
And this is going into your baby, and the mindset is going into your baby.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's an inescapable reality.
Yeah,
If there's a thing like a video game that lets them express that part of their brain without actually having a desire to do it,
Yeah.
no judgments, but it almost makes sense that it would work to actually stop violence. So
Right.
so the idea is like, what is promoting violence? And my answer to that is like being a human, poverty, putting someone through a terrible life,
Yeah.
like forcing someone into bad situations. That's what creates all of it. And until we address, it's like very weird the way we address the problem of violence, because we only look at it in terms of the action itself. We don't want to go all the way back to the source.
No.
We don't want to go back and try to fix the source.
Well, there's a big problem that happens when you start doing that, is instead of being able to transform violent people into one-dimensional sociopathic creatures, suddenly you like get back far enough and they're, I don't know, watching their mom and dad OD on heroin.
Yeah.
Or they're, whatever it is. And again, not to say we don't need prisons and justice and all that, but when you realize, oh yeah, you're just looking at like a misplaced defense mechanism that this human had to learn because of whatever they fucking came out of. Now, I'm not saying it's all sociopaths had horrific experiences. I just looking at my own shitty defense mechanisms and then like going in therapy and connecting them to the past, it's easy to see where like the aspects of my personality that are not conducive to harmony came from.
Yeah.
It's just that, the kids are fucking so tough. They have to adapt.
Yeah.
They
Kids adapt and they develop these weird defense mechanisms.
And then add to that the epigenetic component, and then the United States has been at war 93% of its history.
Yeah.
So now you're just looking at like some like
Insane number of people
insane
that
number.
are transmitting memories of being at war
Yeah.
into their children. And, that was my theory about why history was so barbaric. But if you go far back enough, the pyramids. So, like, what happened between then and like, say, the Mongols? What
Right.
happened? What was the transition? Why did people get so barbaric? And I think they're the people that survived the impact.
Right.
I think when the Younger Dryas impact happened, if it happened 11,800 years ago, they believe, I think the people that survived that were fucking monsters because they had to be.
Right.
I bet it was a total breakdown of any civilization. That's why civilization doesn't really pop up again for 6,000 years.
Yeah.
I think for thousands of years we were monsters.
Dude, it's so funny that that on our planet are all of these mega structures that we just are like, I don't really know. It's just that always blows my mind that like all over the planet,
Yeah.
signs.
Did you see that one I posted on Instagram the other day?
No.
Oh my God. This is fucking insane.
What is it?
Oh, shit.
What?
Where did I leave my phone?
There's a phone right there.
Where? Oh, well, it was hidden by my mic. Sorry. I'm going to send it to Jamie right now. Do you got it? Yeah. So, check this out. Give me some volume on this.
Central Java's lush Kedu plains in pursuit of this mythical peak near the little settlement of Burra. They chopped and burned the strangling vegetation for 6 weeks and removed tons of volcanic ash. What they discovered were marvelous figures cut in stone, thousands of them, hidden beneath the volcanic jungle.
Buddha.
Believed to have been built in the 8th and 9th century, the Borobudur temple is an uncontested marvel whose intricate architecture continues to confound scholars. Despite being one of the most important sites on Java, there is no written record of who erected it or what its intended purpose was. Because there are no inscriptions or dates on the monument, historians must make educated guesses as to when it was most likely created. The dating estimates are based purely off of architectural comparisons found elsewhere in Indonesia. Given the magnitude of the construction, it appears remarkable that no ruler or dynasty took credit for it. Borobudur is the world's biggest Buddhist temple, and yet nobody knows who built it.
Whoa.
On the Indonesian
That's cool.
Yeah. Jamie, I'm sending you another one right now. I mean, there's a bunch of these things. There's a bunch of things like that. They're just like, I don't know.
So,
Like, who made this?
okay, what are your thoughts on mud flood?
What's mud flood?
Mud flood theory.
Oh.
The
Well, I
like
think that goes along with the Younger Dryas impact
yeah,
theory,
but
right?
mud.
Check this out, though, real quick. I want you to watch this because this is fucking bananas. Same account.
Who set out to empty ponds that residents said were bottomless, the Longyu Caves located in the village of Xian Beichun in Zhejiang Province, China, are a massive and majestic ancient underground world. The Longyu Caves, also known as the Shaonanhai Stone Chambers, are thought to date back to at least 2,000 years and represent one of the largest underground excavations of ancient times, as well as an ongoing mystery that has confounded scientists from every discipline that has researched them. Scientists from archaeology, architecture, engineering, and geology around the world have no understanding who or why the Longyu Caves were carved into the earth. Currently, 24 hand-carved caves encompassing a staggering 30,000 square meters have been found so far.
Jesus.
Each grotto is carved into solid siltstone and descends roughly 30 meters down, with stone rooms, bridges, gutters, and ponds. The Longyu Caves are supported by pillars that are evenly dispersed throughout the caves, and the walls, ceiling, and stone columns are uniformly decorated with chisel marks in a pattern of parallel lines and ornate designs. Despite their magnitude and the work required to build them, no indication of their construction, or even their existence, has been discovered in archival sources. Despite the fact that the whole excavation involved about 1 million cubic meters of stone, there is no archaeological evidence explaining where that amount of stone went, nor is there evidence of the work being done.
Damn.
Furthermore, there isn't a single historical source that mentions them, which is extremely remarkable given the scope of the undertaking. Despite decades of analysis, the Longyu Caves mystery remains essentially unsolved.
What the fuck, dude?
You know, when people like bash Hancock or try to dismiss it or debunk it, it's so frustrating to me because the like, first of all, nobody builds something that big underground just for fun. Like, you know what I mean? I think we burrowed in. We had to, like, whatever happened, or maybe something happened and then we were so scared it would happen again, we created, that's like an ancient survival shelter.
Well, they have them in Turkey as well. There's these giant is that where it was? Where Randall told us about?
Dude, those are crazy. Those are crazy with like air ducts and just insane. And it's like, you don't do that unless you have to.
Right.
You don't burrow like a human ant nest.
Yeah, these things. Like the amount of resources it took to do what these people did. These are huge chambers carved into stone.
And the trick,
they think that the sky was like fucking raining lightning at one point.
Yeah. Pole shift. I mean, to me, the really eerie thing about all of this is the information gap. It's that we have this massive, like the hard drive has been like fragmented from we just don't know.
But thank God they made everything out of stone. The thing about it is, whatever their technology was that existed to make the pyramids, it was different. We make everything out of metal and glass, and that shit's not going to be here in 10,000 years. It's just not going to be here. It'll all get destroyed by just Mother Nature. It'll just eventually get, like, I think they've done like analysis of like how much of a city will be around after 500 years of just vacancy, and after 1,000 years. Well, Detroit is a great example. You see what happens in Detroit?
Yeah.
Houses are just getting taken over by trees.
Yeah.
Like trees go through the roof, they go through the floor. They're literally devouring the homes. The homes that are abandoned are getting eaten by trees.
Cool. So cool.
It's very cool. But it shows you it didn't take, I mean, nature has a long lifespan. It doesn't give a fuck if it takes 100 years to reclaim a house, like to take a house back. Just get the roots of the tree to start busting through. Everything's rained on. The wood's soggy. It just breaks apart.
It eats everything.
Assimilates
everything. There's like this, humans have this interesting like temporal blindness. Like the way time passes for us produces the illusion of solidity. And so that confuses people because they think that there's permanence here. When if we could just see, if we lived longer and we could see time faster, we would feel like we were in some kind of like ocean of like undulating matter with these voids in it that we hang out in, like little bubbles in the ocean. That's what we build our houses in. We wouldn't look at this place as solid. We wouldn't think of it as like permanent. This is why everyone was so like fucked up by the pandemic. It's because, you watch enough TV, you buy into the permanence of civilization. Suddenly civilization like has a little rumble, like a little like a house that needs some kind of serious repair. It shifts on it shifts a little bit.
Yeah.
And everyone was like reminded, yeah, this doesn't last any more than any of that shit lasted. And I think that's very disturbing for people who've really anchored themselves in some notion of permanence here.
Yeah.
It freaks people out.
Well, I think that was a great ad for psilocybin.
Yes. Psilocybin.
That's what that was. That was an awesome ad for psilocybin.
Ozempic now has psilocybin in it, which is
That's
incredible.
better. That's better. You realize why you're fat. It'll show you everything. It'll show you all the wires.
You need
underneath
it.
the board.
Dude,
Yeah.
the whole thing, like this is one of the really funny things about humans. We are capable of ignoring internal realities. Like we
Yeah.
can somehow distract ourselves from the obvious cause of our suffering and equate it with a million other things than just what it actually is. Like, dude, I got so fat during the pandemic, fatter than I've ever been. It wasn't a mystery to me.
Right.
Like I knew why I was fat, but like it is curious that like there's a way that you can just kind of like ignore that. Or like when I was drinking too much, you can ignore
Yeah.
that you're waking up with like a low level flu every morning. Like you
Yeah.
can somehow ignore. It's so interesting.
And it's common.
Well, yeah,
Most people do it, especially because it's so fun to party.
it's so fun.
When they're out there partying and getting lit, it's a good time.
It is a great, dude. It is outside of the way it makes you feel the next day. I mean, what a wonderful high. I think what sucks about alcohol as a drug is that
It's a depressant.
It's a depressant, and if you just do like one drink and practice mindfulness with that and watch, you realize like this sucks. Like it goes away real quick. It lasts, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour. Then you want to go back up.
Right.
But your liver can't process it enough, and that's where the hangover comes from. It's like
Well, it's also dehydration. And
dehydration.
glutathione. You can mitigate some of that with glutathione.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah. Liposomal glutathione, I think, is the best. That's some stuff you squirt under your tongue and you like hold it there and it gets into your bloodstream better. But IV is the best. If you can get an IV glutathione, that's the best.
Dude, if you're drinking so much that you're getting IVs, like you got to think about that. You know?
Or if you want to continue having a good time, but you want to take care of your body, get an IV.
You know what? Listen. I sound like a prude. I don't care if people
No,
out there.
you don't sound like a prude. You sound like Duncan Trussell right now. This is
Right.
who you are right now. This is where you are, honestly, in your life. And at other points in your life, you've been different.
right.
It's normal. That's
Current
how all of us are.
Incarnation.
Yeah, and that's why when you see someone who makes a turn for the best, like you see good things happen to them and they get the sparkle in their eye and they're excited,
Yeah.
you get excited too. It's fun. It's great.
Right.
Because it isn't great if you're always like that. It's really great if you figured it out. It's like if your life has been kind of fucked and then you went, what am I doing?
Right.
And then pieced it back together again. Then you're thankful every day.
Right.
Then you're appreciative every day.
Yeah.
It's like those negative things are actually, they can be positive.
Absolutely. Dude, this is another, like, this is the other thing. Like, we focus on half of what's really happening. Like, people focus on the light and what's good and when things are going right for them, completely ignoring the fact that, like, in general, when shit's going bad, like, that's the stuff that's made you interesting. Like down the road, that's what the stories are told about. That's like what the jokes are written about, not the good times. Like the bad times, that's the fertilizer, man.
Yeah.
There's a saying, no mud, no lotus. You ever heard that before?
No, I like that though.
And the two are completely connected, like especially if you zoom out of time.
Yeah.
And you'll realize you're growing out of your worst moment, hopefully for the better.
Yeah.
And the worst moment actually made you smarter. It made you like appreciate life more. It made you like less like, dude, once I got my ball cut off, that was a fucking game changer, dude, because like you just learn how to be in the present moment. Like you can't get off you like your illusion of immortality is destroyed.
Yeah.
And you need that. Like, it's
Yeah.
really not good if you think you're going to live forever.
I think that's one of the good things about jiu-jitsu. You almost get close to death
Oh, yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
and you're so exhausted that it's easier to live in the moment. You're so less anxious.
Right.
I mean, I know I'm fucking beating a dead horse, but I think people need physical struggle, not just even exercise. I think you need exercise, but you need exercise that's rigorous.
Right.
And if you can only do walks, that's cool. Do that. It's definitely better than not doing that.
Right.
Walks are great. Look at Al Pacino. He looked great out there. I bet he's got a trainer.
Look,
But point is,
anything.
like, it helps your anxiety. It helps the way you think in a big way. And I'm thinking about it right now because I hurt my back a couple days ago. Like, actually, it's about a week now. Deadlifting. Shouldn't have done it.
That will
Stupid.
fuck you up.
Stupid. It's not bad, but it's annoying. And it's waking me up to this, like, reality of what happens when you don't work out for a few days. Because I haven't really been able to work out. And I just started doing some stuff. I found out I can do some stuff. I just got to be careful because I don't want to re-aggravate it, because I don't want it to take longer than it. So 2 days in a row I didn't work out, which is really rare for me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't feel good. Like, I feel like, ugh.
Yeah.
I feel like shitty. I feel off.
Yeah.
Like, even the sun's not, like, pepping me up. I go outside, stare at the sun. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Beautiful clouds in the sky. I'm like, And I'm like, oh, you little pussy. You have to work out. You
Right.
can't work out.
Right.
Oh, my God. So now this is how, imagine that times, like, 20 years for some people of eating shitty, too. Not
Yeah.
even eating good.
Right.
And then not working out.
Right.
And that's most people.
And so your like normal reality
Yeah.
is this, like, you're in a kind of decayed
Yeah.
building. You haven't been. It's like walking the dog. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't take your dog for walks, what happens to the dog? Gets nervous, gets
Yeah.
weird, right?
Gets depressed.
Your body is your dog. And,
right.
like, so it's going to do the same thing. It just gets all freaked out.
My dog needs exercise. He loves it. He loves it. I pick up that fucking ball. I have a ball thrower. One of them. It's like a addle looking thing with a ball on the end of
Yeah.
it, so you can really chuck it. He gets so pumped.
It's a great dog,
I
man.
go, dude, I got the ball. He's like, no way. I go, it's right here. He's like, no, we're gonna chase the ball. I'm like, fuck yeah. So I get him all hyped up first. I get all excited.
Yeah, get him excited.
Yeah, I get excited. I go, oh, here we go. Here we go. He loves it.
Dude, my fucking poodle loves to get the ball. Will not bring it back.
You got to train him to do that.
Oh,
You
man,
gotta-
I've
but
tried.
Retrievers, they do it instantly.
Yeah, they just-
Marshall did
it's
it.
in them.
Marshall did it like from the time he was a little bitty puppy. I'd throw something for him, he'd grab it and bring it right back. He didn't want to let it go, but he
Right.
wanted to bring it back. But if you say, "Come on, drop it," drop it,
Yeah.
drop it. Hey, come on, dude. He'll drop it.
Drop it.
But then he's looking at you like he's smiling. He wants to play a little tug of war, so I'll play a little tug of war with
Yeah.
him. He's so playful.
Dude, that is definitely the coolest dog I've ever met. Like,
He's
that is
amazing.
a mystical creature. You
He's
feel like you're
amazing.
being visited by some kind of like magic dog.
Dude.
So happy.
He's so happy. And when I watch TV, he just hops up and cuddles. He just wants to cuddle with me when I watch
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he does.
Used to be a wolf.
Yeah. There's a photo on his Instagram, the most recent photo that we put up. Like, this is me watching TV, and homeboy just, like, hops up to hang out with me. That's what he does.
So sweet.
He hops up and he cuddles with you. He wants to cuddle. He's just all love. Everybody. You come over to the house, like, you never met him before. He's like, you're my favorite person.
You see this? This is going to be the aliens posing with us in about 50 years.
I hope I
right?
don't have to wear a collar. I'll be a good boy. I won't run into traffic.
You're going to have to prove yourself first.
I used to love to take him with no leash when I lived in California because I'd take him in the canyons and we'd run around. But unfortunately, that's a little more problematic where I live. But I think dogs, they need something, man. They need exercise. They need love. They're
Yeah.
like a little version of you in some strange way.
Yep.
And they're a reflection of the owner in some strange way.
Do you buy into the idea that like dogs and their owners kind of start looking like each other?
Yeah, people always say that. I don't think I look like Marshall. He doesn't look like me, but he's the sweetest.
He does when you have your rough costume on.
I don't know. That's the original Marshall. That's a wolf. That's what's crazy. That used to be a wolf.
Right.
That someone took the most ferocious, predatory beast of the forest that operates in packs and they
Yeah.
communicate telepathically.
Yeah.
And they turned that thing into this adorable love sponge.
Dude, okay. When was the last time, this connects, when was the last time you read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Oh, it's been a long time.
Okay. I think I must have read it when I was in high school
Yeah, me
and
too.
just didn't pay attention. It's completely different from the movie. Like 100% different.
Or
It's
maybe I never read it.
Ken Kesey, he was like
Ken Kesey wrote it?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
So it's so psychedelic. The book is so psychedelic, but you know, like the idea is that the character McMurphy, Jack Nicholson's character, and again, this is my own analysis. I don't know what the actual like literary analysis of it is. He represents an undomesticated human, and the people in the ward are humans that couldn't function in what he calls society the combine. They couldn't function in the combine, so they're being brought into the asylums to get like re-domesticated so they could function in the combine. And he represents like an undomesticated human who enters into like a conditioning center designed to melt people back down, build them back up, and send them out into the world and be good, functioning, domesticated humans. It's so good. It's so subversive, dude. It's such a brilliant, like, it's so funny how different the movie is from it. Like, like Nurse Ratched. And again, because the narrator is Chief, the big Native American dude who's in the movie, that's the narrator of the book. It's being told from his perspective. So you don't know like how much of what he's reporting is real and how much is like he's in a mental asylum, right?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I know, it's so good. But according to him, Nurse Ratched can control time. She'll speed up time so that like a year goes by in a day, or slow down time so that like a second lasts like 10 years. And that's just one of the many ways that she's basically torturing the people in the ward.
Oh my God.
She's constantly giving them drugs, tying them to their beds, and always this threat. This like threat is hovering, which is if you fuck up too much, if you get too angry at Nurse Ratched, who is a monster, essentially the way he describes it, it's the demiurge, just the Antichrist, then you know what happens? They're going to fucking give you a lobotomy. They're going to cut out your brain, turn you into a zombie.
And you know they really did that.
Yeah.
They really did that.
They really did that.
They really did that.
I had a professor in college who used to work at an asylum and was the weirdest dude ever. It was an awful class on like psychiatry. And he was kind of talking glowingly about lobotomies. And like someone asked him like, I mean, what happened to the person? And he goes, they became a very good patient.
Oh my God.
Totally was fine with the fact that they were like sticking chopsticks in people's like brain, severing the
brain.
Dude, it's with a hammer, wearing that weird outfit. Why are they dressed like that?
And you know they did a lot of those.
He did it. This doctor is credited with the majority of them.
So are they holding this guy down while they're doing this, or is he anesthetized?
I don't know.
I don't
Through the
see
eyeball.
any
I see a
anesthesia.
strap.
I see straps, and I see people holding his arms. Jesus Christ. You know how fucking terrifying that must be to feel that rod going into your brain
Yeah.
and knowing they're going to turn you into a vegetable?
Yeah. Electroshock.
Dude, do you remember that guy that was running for vice president who had to admit that he went through electroshock therapy?
No.
Yes. It was during the McGovern Nixon campaign. Eagleton. It was McGovern's campaign, right? Yeah. McGovern was like one of the last hopes. He was one of the last, like, truly rational, what you really want out of someone that you consider a liberal, someone who's a compassionate, strong person who people thought that, you know, he could win. They thought that he could win.
Yeah.
And it says 72, over 2 weeks after the 1972 Democratic Convention, Eagleton admitted the truth of news reports that he had received electroshock therapy for clinical depression during the 1960s. McGovern initially said he would back Eagleton 100%, 1,000% rather, but he didn't. He eventually had to let him go, and then it was too late.
Wait, that's what took him out?
That's what took him out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy
Electroshock
shit.
therapy for depression. Just for depression.
Don't people say it
You would
works?
be awarded if you had depression today. Today in this victimhood society,
Oh, right.
if you said this vice president, he suffered from clinical depression, but he sought help, he would be a shining example. Look at him.
Yeah.
He's like us. He was clinically depressed. He got over it. He's a hero.
Yeah.
And then people would be fine with it.
Yeah, back then.
Back then, it was a giant sign of weakness. And they would shock your brain with,
I think it works.
whoa.
Doesn't it
try
have
it.
good results? I would rather not.
Maybe it's like smelling salt.
Have you watched videos of it? Because it's not like they're like vaulting you the whole time. They put these rods on your head, and you like convulse for a second. It's very disturbing to watch.
Maybe it's like a reset, like Control Alt Delete for your brain.
Maybe it's like maybe it's doing like something similar to what
Right.
the psychedelics are doing. It's
Maybe
just
it's
like
bringing you to a near-death experience because your body thinks it's being electrocuted. So
Yeah.
maybe it releases all of those psychedelic chemicals that
Yeah.
they think it releases when you're in near-death experiences.
Did you see that they think they found the mechanism for why psilocybin treats depression? Like they did some study on rat brains in
No.
a petri dish, and they were watching the way it interacts with psilocybin. It like blocks. Yeah, this is
Is
wild.
this someone getting zapped?
Nice hat for shocking people.
You have to wear a hat.
Yeah, but you don't need to have popcorn
her
bags.
toes locked up. Like she got knocked out.
That's the receipt.
They don't show a whole lot of it, but that's it. Yeah.
There's old ones that really show the whole thing.
Dude. I wanted to bring something up, but I kept forgetting. I didn't want to interrupt your rant. I posted something. I retweeted something the other day about this boy that was raised by wolves in India.
Yeah?
Have you ever seen that?
No.
See if you can find that from a few days ago. I retweeted it. I want to know if it's true. I'm like, I was too lazy to Google it. I was like, I'll just bring it up on the
post it.
podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I just retweeted it. I take no responsibility for retweets.
It's the best way to fact check is just tweet something.
Also, retweets for me are just like, I think this is interesting. Maybe you will too.
All right.
That's what I do it for. So this is it. The Wolf Child in 1889. Wow, how do you say that word?
Bulandashar?
Bulandashar region of the Indian forest. There resided Dina Sanachar, a feral child of merely 6 years old. Sanachar lived amidst a wolf pack, adapting to their ways and partaking in their activities. This remarkable case serves as a vivid demonstration of the impact of environmental factors on human behavior. It exemplifies how the availability of resources, the upbringing environment, and the ability to adapt to surroundings during childhood can shape an individual's physical and mental abilities,
Right.
ultimately ensuring survival. I mean, this is kind of what we've been talking about.
Yeah, totally, man.
Look at that kid. Look at his face. That's crazy.
I mean, this is probably why you should be very careful about who your friends are, because like you know, maybe we look like our dogs, but definitely like in a group of friends, you like warp. You will shift into like something that like harmonizes with all of them. So
Well,
if
how
you,
about girls who like become boyfriends with serial killers and they go and kill people together? They pick up girls and kill them together.
so crazy,
People have done that.
crazy.
Like that's a real thing that's happened more than once, where a guy will be a serial killer and he'll convert his girlfriend to becoming a serial killer, and they can kill people together.
What does that conversation start off like?
According to
starts off with a lot of
Snopes, the
meth.
only thing that's not true. The only thing that's not true about that story is that he wasn't the only kid. There was
Oh wow!
he was at least one of two at that time they found.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow!
And there might have been a couple more.
Wow!
That's crazy.
Oh my God!
Yeah, they say
Raised
it's
by
true.
wolves.
You know,
Look at him.
it's like he got trained by a wolf. It's the reverse situation. Like,
Look at that. He took up the habit of smoking cigarettes.
wouldn't you if you were surrounded by wolves for your whole childhood?
I need to relax.
It says there's at least
What
five
the
other.
fuck? At least 5 other. Did he learn how to talk and everything?
No, it said they never learned how to speak.
Damn.
This reminds me of that video we played a few times from dark white underbelly of that family.
Yeah.
The boy in Sleeman's story died a few months after being brought back to human society.
Whoa.
Couldn't deal with it. He smoked out of the wolf's den. Where did he get cigarettes?
No, did he? Is that what they were saying?
It said he smoked out of the wolf den. That's kind of weird, right?
So he lived in the wolf den? They kept him there?
Look, where was it? Scroll. Wait, the boy in Sleeman's story, like the boy who smoked out of the wolf's den, died a few months after being brought back to
No,
human.
it says like was smoked out of the wolf
Oh,
den.
what? Oh, picture
Like
him.
smoke them out, like George Bush. We're gonna smoke them out of their
Okay, I
holes.
gotcha. He wasn't like,
Remember when W said that?
oh my
We're
god,
gonna smoke them out of their holes.
oh my god, dude, did you see that weird shit with Lindsey Graham? Like the way he's like, we're gonna kill Russians. Like it's the creepiest shit you ever saw. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Dude, it's so spooky.
Let me see it.
You'll have to. I don't know where I saw it, but it's like he's like with Zelensky, and he's
I
like,
just started getting a stomach ache.
dude, it's
Just you saying that, I started getting a stomach
the
ache.
way he talks about murdering people is really unnerving. You know where I saw it? I saw it on Tucker Carlson's first Twitter episode. Did you
Really?
see that?
No.
Tucker Carlson's new show on Twitter.
So what is the show?
It's just him like doing a monologue, basically. It's like a monologue.
So it's like his old show.
It's like his old show, but now he's been like unmuzzled. So it's like freebase Carlson. He's like going hard. And, you know, it's weird. It's like these days, I think a sign that you're looking at a real journalist is you worry about them. You're like, they're going to get,
Yeah.
you got to shut up, man. Like you should,
Yeah.
they're going to get you, man. What are you doing? Are you safe? Because it gives you that feeling. And you know what's really interesting about it? Like, you know, I get like people on the left are furious with him, and just like people on the right hate Rachel Maddow or whatever. But
Yeah.
he was mocked for talking about the UFO wreckage stuff. Like people in the comments were like, he's talking about UFOs, like he saw a crop circle and talked about it, not like
Let's hear it. Here it is. Live free or
Now we
die.
are free,
Yes.
and we will be.
And the Russians are down. It's the best money we've ever spent.
Thank you so much.
But I expect in the coming days and weeks for the Ukrainian counteroffensive to yield results. And I'm here to tell you that the last chapter of the Battle of Bakhmut is yet to be written. I'm here to tell you that the Russian military is about to have holy hell unleashed upon them.
That kind of guy you don't want running anything. You
No,
don't want that
dude.
guy.
you don't want that guy running a fucking Starbucks.
Yeah, I don't want. He's a. That was creepy. Just the way to talk that way about something with so much weight on it.
Yeah, we mean at the point that you're
He's
like
talking like he's in a movie.
you're celebrating the human death, like essentially the human sacrifice of conscripts. Like you're celebrating human sacrifice, and somehow
It's human sacrifice that we've written off as being okay.
Russia gave him there's an arrest warrant out for him for those comments that he made from Russia.
He said my crime was speaking truth to power. God damn, I hate that phrase. That phrase gets fucking thrown around by a lot of morons. You know, I mean, I know it's a real phrase, and people,
Yeah.
when they mean it, I get it. But my crime was speaking truth to power. That fucking freaks me out.
it freaks. Hawks are creepy, dude. Like it's like somehow they've managed to get to a place where they can publicly celebrate violent human, like the fail, just essentially like war is a failure of humanity, right?
Yeah.
Like that's so people like him are celebrating the death. You're not like, it doesn't matter if you're doing the right thing. Those are still people.
It's also the way he's talking.
He loves it.
It just, I don't want anyone who gets to make those choices to talk like that. Says, my crime was speaking truth to power, said Graham. Russia has illegally invaded Ukraine. Putin has committed war crimes on an industrial level, and I'm going to keep talking about it. Freedom allows you to say the things I said. We live in a country where you can criticize your leaders. Well, that's kind of true, but it's just what you said with the magnitude of the weight of your words. It's on the line, and the whole world's listening. And that's what you said.
Yeah.
The best money we ever spent. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. The whole thing is, and the Russians are dying. And we're going to...
It's not a fucking football game, man.
Exactly.
Like, this isn't a sport.
Exactly.
Like, what you like, just like, you can clearly, from like the micro, there are times where you're going to have to use violence in a society. There's times where someone's losing their mind, swinging a samurai sword in the middle of the street, or whatever, and like cops have to take them out. There's obviously, this is obvious, but like to then like celebrate that you had to like kill a lunatic or something is so dark. Like, why not collect their scalps, Lindsey Graham? If you're so into this shit, why don't we start scalping the fucking Russians? We'll just cut pieces of, start wearing a necklace of Russian fingers, you know, if you're so into murdering people, and also ignoring the demographics of the people who are getting fucking slaughtered. I mean, you can see videos of them being dragged out of their houses and taken to the middle of Ukraine to just get thrown into a fucking blender, dude. And that's what he's tap dancing about. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and that way of talking that he just did is like it's a standard politician's way of addressing a very complex issue. They do it with like there was a rah aspect to that. We're gonna unleash holy hell on them Russians.
Pep rally for murdering people, dude.
Yeah, because that is a football thing. Like saying it like that, that's like we're gonna go fucking kick their ass. It's a team,
right? But for sure, there is no financial motivation in what Lindsey Graham is doing.
No one would do that.
No.
All that money is just a coincidence.
Yeah. It's so fucking dark, man. Like, it's really so confusing to me. Because I guess I'm a naive idiot that people like that even exist.
Well, also that they exist on the left now. That's what's weird.
Yeah. You mean like because yeah, right? Because the general like
Lindsey Graham, is he a Democrat or Republican?
Republican.
He's a Republican,
right? He's a Republican.
They're all united on this idea. Of course, he's a Republican, but they're all united on this idea that they should continue. There's no one, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. Like, the Democrats were always anti-war. Always.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first time where the Democrats are, like, wholesale buying the narrative. And we have to stop Putin. We have to support Ukraine. I mean, how many Democrat peaceful people that used to have syringes in their Twitter bio now have a Ukraine flag?
Right. Yeah. If you articulate just the general common sense reality that we don't want war.
We don't want war.
That we don't want anyone to die. I don't want Russians to die or Ukrainians to die. We want to elevate our species to the point where somehow we can get along with each other without like resorting to incinerating people.
And because the message is coming from Trump, people completely dismiss it. But did you see that interview with him where he said I would end the Ukraine war in a day?
Right.
And he said, do you not want Ukraine to win? Do you want Russia to win? He goes, no, I want people to stop dying.
Yeah. I saw that. Dude.
It's perfect.
You're allowed to say that.
Let's find that. Because they're playing gotcha on a subject. They're doing gotcha interview real quick. You don't have much time with them, so you got to get a gotcha. And they're doing this with a subject that literally has the fate of the world in front of it.
Right.
Because if nuclear war breaks out, because of all this, and these people are just flippantly supporting this continued conflict with no talk at all about some sort of a compromise.
Yeah.
Some sort of a conversation.
Anything. Or just starting a conversation. Just starting one.
Let's hear what he says.
If I were president, and I say this, I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours. I know Zelensky well. I know Putin well. I would get that ended in a period of
You can break that deal.
100%. It would be easy. That deal would be easy. A lot of it has to do with the money. A lot of it has to do with the military, that we're giving. But I would get that deal done within 24 hours. That war has to be stopped. That war is a disaster.
Final thought. Are you going to win next year?
Cool socks.
No, that's
We have
not.
a very good chance.
That's not the same interview. There was another interview. A woman was interviewing him, I believe, and she asked. I think it was a woman. Asked if he wanted Russia to win. It was some weird gotcha interview. He said, "I want people to stop dying." Yeah, this is it. That's the CNN thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in one day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely
Do you
over.
want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country.
So I paraphrased it. I fucked it up, but that's essentially his answer. I think maybe even after that, he might have actually said, "I want people to stop dying."
It's crazy that that's a controversial statement.
Yeah,
and it's crazy that people can't, because he's saying it,
right?
They invalidate it.
Exactly.
It's so weird. Like the truth, the idea is there's the truth and that it doesn't matter if it's coming out of a radio that has woven into it human skull fragments that Manson owned the radio. It doesn't matter if the radio is spewing truth. That's truth. It's truth. I always thought that was sort of the general consensus among people who were sane was it's not good to blow each other up. And I get it. It's okay, well, then what about when invasions happen? What about when land grabs happen, when some new creepy imperialism happens or Hitler happens or whatever? What about that? But look at the fucking letter. Gandhi wrote a letter to Hitler. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
The idea is you just try. It's worth trying. Get people to talk, hang out, sit down. Even if you can't fail worse than war.
Right.
So any attempt at stopping a war without World War III or violence or whatever, it's glorious. Even if it fails, even if it makes you look like a weak, pathetic piece of shit, long term you're going to look great if you were a peacemaker in the world versus a Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
The Lindsey Grahams, man, history does not look at them in a kind way.
No, they're the evil characters. When you watch a YouTube video on 9/11, it's these people behind the scenes. It's these people that lie about weapons of mass destruction. It's there's a type of person that you see that gets into office, and there's this shameless politician aspect of them that just gives me the creeps.
Dude,
it gives me the creeps when
spooky.
anybody talks like that about war, because it's so consequential. Everything's on the line. Humanity's on the line. Civilization's on the line. The future of your children's on the line. Everything's on the line. And to make it and boil it down to a rah football pep rally speech is crazy.
An AI wizard out there who wants to do some kind of something that will probably be very controversial needs to put together a montage of the videos of all the drones blowing up Russians and replace the adults with kids so that you see the children version of them being blown up. Because that's the weird thing about it. There's this, once you get to a certain height, at that point, we celebrate you getting exploded. But, if kids were doing this shit, we would end it immediately, regardless of, this is if my kids are squabbling and one of them bites the other or something or whatever, it doesn't matter anymore about the fairness or whatever is happening. It's you can't do that. Stop the violence.
Right.
Yeah, man. It's that's the thing is to conduct a successful war, you really have to disconnect from the human reality of who is fighting the wars. If you see this Prigozhin, is his name Prigozhin, the guy who runs his own like battalion, the private contractor who is like fighting Bakhmut, that crazy guy.
I'm not aware of this.
Basically, there was a video that popped up of like someone getting their head smashed in with a hammer.
I did see that.
That. So it's like these people.
Who is that got his head smashed in?
He was somebody who didn't want to fight anymore.
That's what it was?
Yeah, and to send the signal out, like, this is what happens if you try to run away, we'll just smash your head in.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So it's like...
So he was a fellow Russian?
Yes. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the idea, is like, stop. Just know that the people who are out there thought it was a training mission, apparently, and if they try to defect and get out of there or whatever, they're probably going to get killed. So it's not like
was that a Russian guy that got killed or a Ukraine guy got killed? It was Russian?
I thought it was a Russian dude.
As you're saying, and I'm reading about him, do you think, he says he recruited prisoners. Is there any chance I don't know.
Said he recruited, this is the guy that got killed?
Prigozhin is the guy who controlled the troops, I think.
Is he the guy that got killed with the hammer?
I don't think so.
No. The guy that got killed with the hammer was just a soldier.
A soldier.
What am I talking about? This marijuana is just too strong. I can't
It's
follow the narrative.
You know what? I saw you go deeper than this time. I didn't do it. In so many of these episodes, I forget the potency of this. What you have here, it's so good. But yeah, man. Like,
so this guy ordered people out there, and then when people said, "Hey, this isn't a fucking training run. This is a real war."
Yeah.
I don't want to fight in this war.
That's what I read. I don't know if that's true.
And they killed that guy with a hammer. The guy seemed like resigned to his fate.
Dude,
it's crazy.
The thing is, when you so like the big critique of Russia that Lindsey Graham has is you get arrested if you say anything, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, if we have prisoners who've been quote recruited fighting out there, then Russia is sending anti-Putin people into a meat grinder to die. So you spoke out against Russia. You've been in a Russian prison. You get recruited, and then they just send you into all of these weapons given to Ukraine by the Western world. You're just dead. It's a death sentence. So that's so when you break it down at that level, suddenly it's not like these fucking Russians are like, let me go invade the place where my mother-in-law lives.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's not like that. It's like many of them they have to do it. You just can't, there's no way out unless you want to die. So you have to choose, like, which way do I want to die? Want to get blown up by some fucking Ukrainian drone, or do I want to get my head smashed in, or just
on YouTube?
On YouTube.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up, man.
In all fairness, I think YouTube would take that down.
I think they changed it. I think they're changing, aren't they? Did I dream that YouTube was like loosening up so we could watch those videos again on YouTube?
Really?
I could be wrong, but I feel like there was some shift in their censorship model that was happening, but I could be wrong about that.
Well, it's not when it comes to RFK Jr. They're deleting his old podcasts. They deleted one from Theo Vaughn from a year ago, and they had deleted one from Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, which is more than a year ago too.
I did not know that.
They just did it.
What the fuck?
They just started doing that.
Isn't that illegal if someone's running for president? You can't do that, right?
I don't know what you could say that it's because of misinformation, and this is because he talks about vaccines, and he talks about he was an environmental attorney before he was anything, and his whole thing was trying to hold companies accountable for what they're doing by ruining the environment and lying about it. And for them to take that guy and say, you can't do that with other stuff. You can't talk about other stuff. Like, how come no one wants to hear him out? How come no one wants to hear him out with that book, The Real Anthony Fauci, is fucking terrifying. And if it's not true, why isn't he getting sued? If that book is true, if all the things that he's saying and he has references for everything, if it's all accurate, we should all read that book. Everyone should read that book.
Right.
Because if it's true, it's terrifying. You've been captured by an industry that's forced you into becoming a source of income for them.
Dude, censorship has this component of condescension in it that is really like that to me is the worst part. Is essentially you're saying you're too dumb to parse this information in a rational way.
Yeah.
So we're going to protect you from it because it's like a poison. It's going to infect your brain, and we have to protect you. That is really like first of all, if you do like that's bad parenting in general. You know what I mean? Like the idea would be that you like teach your kid to confront false things, learn why they're not real, and then instead of like trying to prevent your kid from seeing like everything, you know, I mean, I don't obviously like I'm not letting my kid watch Blade Runner or some shit like that, but just that if you get too overprotective with your kids, like try to hide death from them, for example, that sort of thing. Like you got to trust we can deal with it. That it's safe for us to encounter all forms of information.
Well, the problem is
what?
From the time they're real little, you're lying to them. Santa Claus is gonna come to bring you all toys. He's gonna come down the chimney. He's gonna magically appear.
Yeah. Just teach your kid what the word egregore means, and you can do Santa Claus ethically.
What's egregore?
Egregore is like the name for like a thing that exists within the minds of a lot of people. It's an egregore. So like if enough people believe in something, does it have a material reality? Not necessarily. But within the psychic mind space, it's real. It's there.
Like Santa Claus is a thing.
Yeah, an egregore. Santa Claus is an egregore. There's no real Santa Claus, but there is a very vivid, living entity within the interconnected minds of everyone who believes in it. That's an egregore.
The problem is if you tell your kid that Santa's an egregore, and then your kid's going to tell all the kids at school, and then you're the asshole. That's the problem.
I'll be honest, Joe. I have not told my kids Santa's an egregore. I just thought of it. I'm like, maybe I'll do egregore this Christmas. But yeah, you're
there's
right.
like a battle. Like you get kids together, you know, and you ask, you talk to parents like, hey, have you done the Santa Claus talk? No. Like, how old are they? They're 5 and 6. Like, if you get to that age where you're like, okay, when are you going to tell these kids?
When do you tell?
When do you tell them? They don't like it when you tell them either. They get very sad.
So is that what these people think about us?
But it's weird that they grow up with a lie. That's what I don't like. You grow up with a lie. It's a stupid lie. And you convince a child that this lie that we all have mutually agreed upon, it's fucking kind of, Santa Claus is kind of dangerous because it sets people up at a very early age for the reality that, the possibility rather, that everything you believe in is bullshit.
It's misinformation, Joe.
But everything you believe in is propaganda. It's propaganda by your parents to get you to be good.
Yeah.
You better be good. You better be nice.
Better than hell. At least you're not doing the hell thing.
Santa Claus is coming
to town.
He knows when you are sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Yeah,
He's breaking child predator laws by monitoring kids.
Santa Claus is like the ultimate overlord in the sky.
It's a panopticon, man. It's a fucking materialistic panopticon. You're being constantly monitored by some mythical North Pole thing that's probably like, I guarantee, if we look at the way Santa is paying those fucking elves, I guarantee it's like they don't want to be there. Elves don't want to be in the North Pole.
Right.
The whole thing's fucked up. You had Elf on the fucking shelf. You know about Elf on the Shelf?
We had to do that.
Elf on the Shelf. Now you have like a little fucking plastic security camera that's watching your kids all the time. If they touch it, it loses its magic. So
Hilarious.
So you put into the kids this like neurotic thing. Because like think of how many kids have touched Elf on the Shelf and not told their parents and live with that guilt. Like knowing they fucking depleted the elf's magic. It's not coming back. This is sinister at one level. You know, it is really fucking weird.
It's lies. And it's lies that are unnecessary. It's not lies about like something stupid. It's lies about whether or not there's elves flying around your fucking house. Like you're getting your kids to believe in nonsense like very early on.
Well,
instead of just like reading fun books where they know it's pretend. Right. Where you can just pretend.
And also when you realize like the whole thing is just connected to getting the economy to get a little better once a year. You know what I mean? The whole thing is just to drive up the fucking economy by manipulating children into believing in a fucking Santa Claus. That is wild.
Yeah. You were saying something about psilocybin, the psilocybin study. You about something about connecting to brain and memory. You're saying what they recently discovered.
Oh yeah. They did some study. The article I read was really funny because they're like, okay, we found the receptors that psilocybin is working on, and the way it affects the receptors is 1,000 times more potent than antidepressants. And now that they know where these receptors are, theoretically, they could invent a medicine that doesn't get people high. It's so sad.
Oh no!
You're celebrating that? Like, why? Wait, we already have the medicine.
No.
The medicine works. Why do we need to synthesize that? It grows out of the ground. But they're like, now that we understand it, we can synthesize it and take away one of the best things about it.
Duncan, we figured it out, and it's the best money ever spent.
Oh, God damn. Yeah.
Same people.
Yeah, exactly.
Same people.
Exactly.
Instead of saying, hey, we should legislate, we should change the laws.
Right.
Like we really need to rally about this. This is an actual important medication for humanity.
Yeah.
It actually could make people nicer. It might have made people.
Just the problem is, it's apparently too easy to grow those fucking mushrooms, man. Like, you know what I mean?
They want to be here.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't grow an antidepressant. Like you can't fucking create a Lexapro.
That's exactly
aquarium.
what the problem is. And we're captive. We're captive by this industry that uses you to make money on a regular basis and will oppose anything that gets in the way of that profit, even if that thing is overall net positive for humanity, which psilocybin is.
Horrible. Dude, I just revisited the thalidomide thing. You ever look into that?
Thalidomide.
Thank you.
Yes.
That shit, like,
terrific.
for like, it's kind of like the United States does what's the name of the incident they did in Vietnam that triggered the war? Like the Gulf of Tonkin. So they do that. And then we get in this stupid war. Okay. Then we get the yellow cake, the yellow cake thing to justify the invasion of Iraq, right? Comes out, that wasn't real. We just buy into that somehow now we got better. Like now it all makes sense. So the thalidomide, it's a perfect example of a pharmaceutical company pushing shit that they knew was hurting kids. They wanted to sell it in the United States. They knew it was fucking kids up. They somehow warped the studies in a way. They warped them so much. It was one woman, I can't remember who was like, they were trying to get the right to sell it in the United States. And she's looking at the study and like, this is too good. Like something is off here. Like this doesn't make sense for like generally anything has like more side effects than this shit that they gave whoever she was. I wish I could remember her name. But the point is, man, like to imagine that stopped, to imagine like that was the only time that's happened and that will never happen again with pharmaceutical companies is really crazy.
Well, it's really crazy that all it took was the pandemic for people to think that way. But the problem is the way you think about it with the information that you have about thalidomide and with the information you have about the opioid crisis and
the Sacklers.
The Sacklers, yeah. I mean, and they just got immunity for like, they gave up immunity for like $6 billion. Wow. They bribed.
Yeah, they bribed.
They bought their immunity. I mean, they lied. The companies they owned lied. They got people addicted. People lost lives. So many lost lives.
Yeah, dude.
So many lost lives. The Vioxx scandal. They killed 60,000 people in America.
Same with thalidomide, by the way. Apparently no one went to jail for that shit. Like nobody went to jail. No.
But the thing is, that's how that business is. That business has always been like that. And we're one of 2 countries in the whole planet Earth that allows them to advertise.
Those commercials are so weird, Joe.
They're psyops. Every commercial is a psyop. Every commercial makes you think that you're going to be at that barbecue. You're like, I don't have any friends, but if I take this, I'll be laughing and I'll be on that raft with everybody else, going down the river, having a good old time. That's what I need. That's what I need. Yeah.
I can't get that song out of my head.
All I needed was a little fucking electric pad on each ear.
I'm better now. Thank you.
Or some psilocybin, or exercise, or all of the above,
Yeah,
except
man.
for the electric shock. Yeah. I
They
mean,
shouldn't be allowed to advertise, and they should not be allowed to have any lobbyists affecting our government.
And the amount of money they're making right now, bro, like they want to keep making that money. That's the thing about money. When a corporation has growth, when they have like massive growth, like these pharmaceutical drug corporations had when they were manufacturing a medication that everybody had to take, when they make that money and then it's over, or they don't want to go back to like 2018 levels.
No.
Fuck that.
You can't.
You know, we got to figure out a way to sell more.
Yeah. You just
or
want to
come
sell
up
more.
with some new thing.
And
or,
I think when you get in those corporations, when you're working in them, it's a filter bubble. So like, you know, if you look at corporations as cults, you know, there's a cult-like aspect to corporations. So you get into the cult, and then over time you get indoctrinated into like resonating with whatever their particular version of reality, whatever their reality tunnel is. And so I think in that reality tunnel, they truly believe that everything they're doing makes sense, that it's good to do, that it's all justified. Because some of them, when confronted, they seem authentically shocked. Like they seem like, wait, we're trying to help. Like they don't seem to have connected to how weird it is to have that massive a profit margin when it comes to giving people medicine to heal them. You know what I mean? Like the idea being just generally you should not be profiting off of diabetics at the level you are with insulin, you know? Like generally.
Selected top diabetes drugs is expected sales in 2020 and 2024. Wow.
They make a lot of money on diabetes drugs.
Jesus
Ozempic's
Christ.
included in that.
So with these diabetes drugs, they make a lot of money off this stuff. And if people all got healthy, that would all go away.
Exactly. So then there's that weird, you know, if you want to sell umbrellas, you need it to rain. So then, you know, weirdly, the moment you start making mega profit off of people's sickness, you have under the surface of everything, you need people to be sick to continue to take those great fucking vacations.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's where it gets really creepy, right? That's
really
the creepy part, because
you need them to be ill. You want them to be ill.
And then, you know, I don't know if you looked up, like, I don't know the exact amount, but apparently there's a huge percentage of money coming into networks from the pharmaceutical companies, like that's holding them up, which is why, you know, I guess you could just understand how much money they're getting just every time you see a pharmaceutical company commercial come on anything you're watching. Make note of that. And then you can see how much that programming is being paid for by these companies. Dude, that's really spooky, man, because then
then they become kind of the de facto government.
Yeah.
They become sort of like the communications mouth of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's essentially what news anchors are. Do you see, is it true, this thing about Anderson Cooper that they're saying that he was given $12 million to promote vaccines? Somebody posted that on Twitter.
12
million?
million?
I was like, what? That they gave him $12 million to promote
Is that
vaccines
true?
during the pandemic?
That's definitely reshaping everything. His contract is for $12 million a year. So that's just his contract with CNN.
So why are they saying it like that?
Well, because they want people
But
to
I
repeat
think
it.
it
It's
was like
headline.
a fairly reputable source, right?
I mean, I just typed in Anderson Cooper 12 million. There's articles from a couple years ago about that's what he reportedly earns.
Right, but it
and says he won't leave his son in his inheritance because he comes from a very rich family.
Right, but was it 12 million on top of that they asked him? Did you find that? So, to promote vaccines.
How would someone know that?
I don't know. But maybe they do. Maybe they don't. But let's find out. So it says Anderson Cooper was given $12 million to promote vaccines.
Yeah, there's a website called. It's not a reputable website that says Pfizer pays millions to CNN for COVID jab promotion, which is like that's.
Well, they pay for ads.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's what that is.
Okay, so that's a slippery way of phrasing things, just like that other stupid fucking headline.
You can't really...
What was the other stupid headline again that drove us nuts? Oh, about Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, you
Same
just you
shit.
can't skim
How gross is that? But that stupid headline was crazy because that made it look like, oh my God, there's money grubbing whore, and he's mad and he got a paternity test. He's like, not so.
Yeah.
I love it that my loads work. Hoo-ah!
Mother time.
Yeah.
I think that the issue is regardless of whether like someone's writing someone a check or whether or not it just is in your paycheck from the company that's getting checks from another place, it's just like it's adding this like extra. It's like the people who put their money in the Cayman Islands or whatever. It's like adding this extra layer to you getting money from those corporations.
Yeah.
It's also what they do at firing squads, right? We only put
there's only so many people have bullets.
Right. So you if you want to ignore the reality that some of the journalism you're doing is like being warped a little bit by the network potentially. I don't know if this happens. I'm guessing it does to
what?
Matt. It probably doesn't, dude.
Maybe doesn't. Maybe.
Man,
maybe they really think that.
I'm
way.
a little stoned right now.
I get it.
But it creates this ability for you to sort of like cope with that cognitive dissonance. So like you don't have to like go home and think, am I really a journalist?
This is what you might have seen.
Breaking, Robert Kennedy Jr. claims that 80% of Anderson Cooper's $12 million salary comes from Pfizer.
I read an article that was saying that he was. Can't find the interview yet, but in an interview he said that that 10 million of that 12 is coming directly from Pfizer, and he's promoting it separately. But I don't know where he got that information from.
All right.
Can you find what percentage of advertising dollars for CNN comes from pharmaceutical companies?
Not CNN specifically, but in that same article I was seeing with this, he makes the claim, which we've read before, is that 75% of advertising revenues in the mainstream media comes from that. But I just found an article from last month, February. It says at least for TV that's down, but it's because they're changing the spending to digital buys. So it's.
You see, they fired the CNN guy, the top guy again.
Who?
The guy who's only been there for a year.
Oh yeah, my wife was telling me something like that.
Because it keeps imploding. CNN's imploding.
All right. Yeah, they just can't seem to like get the air back in the tire, can they?
Yeah,
It's just,
they've got a stink on them.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
they kept Don Lemon in there too long.
Fuck.
They kept him in the box too long. People didn't like him. They felt like he was,
Naked and Afraid, Don Lemon,
that's
Tucker
the show.
Carlson.
That's how he comes back.
Yeah.
I got my money on Tucker.
Yeah, well, he's like, I don't know if Don
He's a
Lemon's
fisherman.
a fisherman, but I think Carlson's like gonna like. I bet Carlson will bring a fishing pole, like that you can bring two things or something like that. He'll probably bring his fishing pole. What does Lemon bring?
I don't know. Alone would be better.
Dude,
Alone's
I
the
love
best.
that show so much.
That's the best. 'Cause they throw you to the wolves. You're by yourself with like a bow and arrow and a hatchet.
So good.
You get like three things. You get a bucket. Like
I was hooked on that show. So fun to sit on your couch, like eating and watching these people out there starving in the cold.
I had a guy who was on who won it, Jordan Jonas. And it was a ringer if there was ever a ringer. Because he's lived in Siberia with like the indigenous tribes and
that's the unfair part of the show.
Yeah.
They're putting people like that against like people they found at a bar who are like, I want to be on TV.
Or it's just some girl who's hot who wants a lot of like money for her Instagram.
They're out in the wilderness for 2 days and are like, I have to see my kids. They're out.
But if you're going to do a show like that, like you're not going to get that much attention for quitting. Like, and there's a lot of money if you win, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do they win? Like $500,000?
Oh, I don't remember, but it's a shit
I think it's a
ton.
lot. Yep. Is it $500,000?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're going to get ringers for the most part. You're going to want a real competition. Like the more episodes you get, the longer these people stay in there, the more episodes you get, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. You want them.
And they're by themselves, filming themselves.
And the more drama, man, the more views you're going to get. So, like,
So they only stop to visit them to give them batteries and shit, right?
I don't understand the filming process because, like, I was looking at some of the shots, and it's like, how are they getting these shots? Like, when you're
they set up cameras, they have a tripod, and they're supposed to set up their camera and then like film things,
You're
like
hunting.
so that they're doing certain things.
It's just all the survival shit to imagine before commencing with your survival activity. You're like setting up a GoPro on a tripod.
Yeah, but
How does that work?
Hunters do that all the
they
time.
do? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they actually have some. They have one that actually is an iPhone it's a magnetic thing for your iPhone that sits on your front stabilizer. I'm sorry, I forget the name of it, but it's pretty cool. So like when you draw your bow back, you can actually press record on your iPhone and film the flight of the arrow with your iPhone.
That's so
you can
cool.
film the animal coming in. You can film the flight of your arrow, and it's actually good for ethical reasons because you can see whether or not you made a perfect shot. And so if you made a perfect shot, just let the animal die. And don't freak it out and chase it. You see where it goes.
Right.
You could follow the trail because you're visually looking at the film, like how you shut off to the right. There he goes. And they do that all the time. So if you wanted to set up, like people do that all the time in deer hunting, they set up cameras. They have like camera arms they have on tree stands and shit. Have you ever seen those?
No.
There's whole shows dedicated to whitetail hunting out of a tree stand. Like it is a religion in the Midwest.
Whitetail hunting?
Whitetail hunting is a religion. It's the #1 hunted animal, big game animal in North America.
Didn't know
Whitetail
that.
deer. Dude, people become obsessed with it. They become obsessed to the point where they create habitat for the deer to live. Like they buy enormous farms and set up food plots.
Holy
So
shit.
they're feeding the deer essentially with food.
Right.
They have alfalfa like growing everywhere, and
Yeah.
the deer just are constantly in their area eating. And then they hide in trees and wait until the wind is right. So you don't want a northeast wind that's like blowing the wrong way, so your scent is going all over the field. You don't want that. So you want to get the right tree stand with the right wind, and you sneak in on these animals that have been growing, eating your fucking alfalfa for years and years and years,
Yeah.
and getting jacked and looking good. And all of a sudden, one day he's out there eating, and whack, he feels an arrow goes through his rib cage.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But here's the other ethical dilemma.
What?
They don't have any predators. I mean, there's occasional mountain lions,
Oh, yeah,
occasional
right.
coyotes. Like, how are you keeping these populations down? Because the number of car accidents that people have with deer in, like, Iowa alone must be off the charts. We've done this
Yeah.
before, right, where we looked at the number of car accidents per year. Isn't it like it's something bonkers?
From deer?
Yeah. The number of car accidents per year in the United States,
Oh.
it's a crazy number.
You ever had a deer run in front of your car?
Yes.
Dude, it's so scary. It's like
very
they're
scary.
so fast.
Oh yeah, and they fuck up. They make bad choices.
Yeah.
They just decide to especially when you're around here and it's like November, December,
Yeah.
January. Be careful because that's when they're horny and that's when they're trying to fuck, and they will run right out into traffic. And they chase does. They're chasing does because they're trying to fuck them, and the does don't want to fuck them, so the does will run right into traffic.
Dude,
It's like a romantic movie.
How weird is it that like horniness has the exact same component through all species,
Yeah.
right? Like a horny human will also run in front of a car, will also do stupid
Yeah.
shit. It's so weird. Like it really makes you dumb when you're horny. Like
100%.
According to State Farm, in between July 21 and June 22, they're down 5.5% from the previous 1.9 million animal collisions, and 67% of those are deer.
202 deaths.
So it's like over a million are deer almost, or only like probably 1.1 or 2 million. Are deer
Holy
collisions.
shit, dude.
202 people killed by deer.
That is nuts. My friend Cam Haynes in his hometown, or near his hometown rather, some guy hit a deer with his car, and it flew through the air and came through the window and killed the guy behind him.
Jesus Christ.
Just impaled him in his seat.
Are you liable for that?
How could you be?
If you ping-ponged a deer? Like, is that...
I mean, I'm sure you're in the conversation because you hit the deer first. But, if you're on the highway and you hit a deer, whose fucking fault is it? Like, you can't stop quick enough when you're going 60 miles an hour.
Holy fuck.
What state do you think is number one?
For getting animals hit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to think of cars driving a lot through interstates. Kansas? Ohio?
Neither are in the top 10.
What's
Really?
the top? What's the
Iowa?
top?
Iowa's number 10.
Wow. What's number one?
West Virginia.
Oh, that makes sense. They must be infested in those hills up there.
And then Montana. So it's not
Dude,
near there.
that's...
Montana's number 2?
Yeah.
You
Wow,
could
Montana.
do like a cemetery of just people killed by deer.
Yeah.
That is so... I had no idea, man. Like, that's so creepy
Yeah, that's fucked.
to think your whole life you're thinking you're going to do a heart attack or old age, and fucking deer is gonna like slam into you one night.
You get up in the morning and go, you know what? That's it. No more sugar. I'm cutting sugar out of my diet. I'm going to start taking yoga again. I'm going to find a yoga class. Yeah. And then fucking deer through the face.
Look at that, dude. That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
All sorts of crazy.
It happens all the time. And a lot of times when they come through, their guts come through too. So it's not just a deer that comes through. It's like you hit it and then it goes through your windshield. And when it goes through your windshield, you're just covered in gore.
Covered in gore. And you know what? Okay, so like if we found some statistic for how many nighttime hand jobs happen in Ohio when people are driving.
That where they get hit by a deer?
I'm telling you, a few people are probably...
Why I say hand jobs? What about head?
You know what? You got me. You kind of like...
That's more exciting anyway.
I've gotten
That's
more car
dangerous.
hand jobs than car blowjobs.
Yeah, I've only gotten a couple of car blowjobs lifetime. It's a dangerous operation.
I don't like it.
It's not for everybody. And it's definitely when you're done, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Because like if you wreck, they could accidentally clench their teeth.
Well, also you could wreck. Like you're not paying attention, you could hit someone. Like you fucking selfish prick. Like she's gonna bite my dick. Like, oh my God.
Well, look, man, it's just like...
just pay attention. You're not supposed to look at your phone while you're driving. You shouldn't be getting your dick sucked.
You should not be getting your dick sucked. I just
don't look at your phone and don't get your dick sucked. And don't suck anybody's dick either.
We're getting old.
I know we're telling people don't drink.
Don't drink and don't give car blowjobs.
Don't give head while you're driving.
What have we turned into?
What have we turned into?
Santa Claus is a psyop.
Yeah, Santa Claus is fake. UFOs probably real.
How about that, man?
Oh my God! When that guy was talking, when he was explaining that we've retrieved vehicles of non-human origin
and pilots,
dude. Yeah,
pilots.
Yeah,
it is astounding.
Military whistleblower claims U.S. has UFO retrieval program. Air Force veteran David Grush claims the government is covering up UFOs. Grush claims he has seen evidence of a secret crash retrieval program. He alleges the U.S. has even retrieved bodies from other species. That lady looks like an alien. A little bit like a hot older alien. She wants to tell you that you're making big mistakes, Duncan.
Yeah, you're making mistakes.
You come to Alpha Centiculi with me.
That'd be wild if aliens look like her.
But you have like a hot, like Sigourney Weaver in her prime alien that comes to visit you.
Please, that would be the best.
Like Sigourney Weaver from Alien.
Amazing.
Oh my God. You know, people don't talk about that when they talk about like female heroes of major blockbuster films. Like, that's the big one.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver in Alien, that's the big
best.
one. Because you believe every second of it. It is completely inconsequential that she's a woman in that movie. That's Aliens. It starts getting sketchy.
I liked Aliens. Aliens was cool.
Here's the problem with Aliens. Why are they so hard to kill in Alien, but so easy to kill in Aliens?
They got better weapons.
And then the big mama can't deal with the fucking slow-moving mechanical robot.
You're right.
You're
totally right. Because like the first thing was like indestructible.
Yes,
there
clever.
Was no hope. Clever.
Yeah.
It was it just the opposite of humanity.
It hid in the escape capsule.
Yeah, brilliant.
Remember, she has to kill it and shoot it out into space.
Yeah.
Bro,
have you heard? Okay, here is a nerdy breakdown of Alien that I heard, which is really interesting. Which is horror movies. I think this is like Robert McKee. He teaches about writing scripts. Horror movies follow this very predictable pattern, and there are all these things that are across the board in horror movies, and one of them is you can't call your mom. So, and what was the name of the ship in Alien? Mother.
Yeah.
And so like there's all these like recurring like archetypical things that pop up in horror movies that freak people out. Big one is you can't call mommy anymore. You're like, yeah. So you kind of get that in there. It's so creepy.
It's so creepy that we're at this time where all this UFO information is coming out, but yet people are still like very reluctant to buy into it or even give it attention. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
People are like, can't be bothered.
Dude.
Can't be bothered.
Listen, because I'm obsessed with it, I've like it's the reaction when you start telling someone, there's now seemingly credible evidence that we have alien spaceships, and to watch them be like, okay. It's so weird, dude. And it's so weird that like now it's getting picked up by the mainstream media, but there was this insane pause no one was taught, like it went nowhere. And isn't this, if this is true, the most astounding thing in human history? Like
it's
one
the
of the
most
top
astounding
three?
thing. It's the most astounding thing because it's the thing that everybody has always wondered. Are we alone? Not only are we not alone, but some people know we're not alone and they're not sharing it with everybody else because they want to profit.
Yeah.
Because they want to back engineer these things, because they want it for national security reasons, because they want to protect us from the possibility that China gets this technology or Russia gets this technology and then everybody has spaceships. But you're not the decider. You don't get to decide whether or not human beings go from cradle to the grave without information that you have. That would literally change the way we think about the universe itself.
Right.
Like for you to hold on to that because you want to win, get the fuck out of here. And if this is really, if some sort of defense contractors are actually involved in this, I mean, they can't, look, I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. Right. But when you say the government, the government's back engineering UFOs. When you say the government's building secret hypersonic ships that defy visual, you can't take photos of them, you can't take videos of them, they fly through the sky at insane rates of speed. Who's making that? It's not them. What do you mean the government? What do you mean? They don't have the capability to construct those things. You have to go to defense contractors.
Right.
You have to go to the people that make those things.
Course.
Like, buddy, why you got to do it by yourself? Listen, I know you don't trust us because we're not the government, but listen, we work together here. We're going to shut the fuck up too. Everybody will shut the fuck up. We'll make this thing. Come on, you're going to fuck it up and then China's going to win.
Right.
Like, you got a good point. Got a good point, guys. Let's all get together. Right. So if you have a spaceship from another planet, I do not think that if you're actively trying to back engineer that thing that you're not going to involve defense contractors.
Right.
You're not gonna involve people that make jets. You're not gonna bring them in.
No, you have to.
Of course, 100%.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a thing with them. Imagine them holding on to that.
Right.
That's this is their responsibility. Like we have the information that would literally change mankind.
Yeah.
I have to lie to my mom. You're sitting there having a whiskey with the guys after work. I gotta lie to my mom.
Yeah.
My mom wants to believe that aliens are real, and I'm like, come on, Mom, it's all
Tell
horseshit.
her.
Meanwhile, I'm looking at alien spacecrafts 7 days a week.
Right.
Like, what are we doing, guys?
And all the implications of that.
Right.
Like the spaceships are the tip of the fucking iceberg.
Yeah.
Like we don't know motivation. We assuming all of this stuff is real. Now the question is, well, what do they fucking want?
Well, there's all this talk of multiple species too. So when we say they, it's like, which ones are we talking about? Because if you want to go into the motherfucking rabbit hole, right? If you're going to go deep in the rabbit hole, there's multiple things. There's like the grays that everybody talks about, and then there's another thing called the tall whites. The people have described them. They almost look like Scandinavian or something like that, like pale skin.
Are these the Nords?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And they think that there's different, like some alien life is probably 100,000 years ahead of us, 700,000 years ahead of us, 1,000,000 years ahead of us. But some alien life is probably millions and millions of years ahead of us. They probably don't want to fuck with us anymore.
Right.
But I bet the intermediate classes, I bet they're like the watchdogs for the universe to make sure that intelligence reaches that crescendo, that it reaches that moment where you can join the intergalactic hive of minds. The moment where all the barbaric instincts of our primate DNA are expunged.
Right.
We don't have any of that anymore. And the civilization reaches some insane harmony with the very universe itself.
Right.
That's probably where it goes if you don't blow yourself up. But I think anytime there's a hiccup, we go way back to as barbaric as possible, and it takes forever for things to relax. And you're seeing a microcosm of that with COVID. It's what's accelerated all these different social movements. It's what's accelerated all these different people that are what they would call activists. It's accelerated all this. It's just an insane pause in civilization. And then there's this sort of rapid desire to claim ground and to reformulate and rechange and reimagine and restructure. Yeah. And the government's going to try to get involved, and social groups are going to try to get involved. There's a money grab, and then there's donations, and you find out that some of the people that are involved in the organization are buying mansions. And don't worry about this mansion. I'm out here doing good work. Yeah. And then there's so much of that. But I think that's a microcosm of what probably happened when the fucking asteroid slammed into us. I think when civilization got wiped out, I really believe that it was the worst of the worst. And that's why we have such horrible instincts. I think we're just not far enough removed from that to get it strung out of your DNA.
Yeah.
And if you look at Pinker's work, if you look at any of these people that are studying crime and violence over time, if you just, I know about anecdotal experiences, I know about your own personal life, but you got to set that aside for a moment and just look at overall.
Yeah.
It's getting lower and lower all the time. Yeah. It's always going lower. It's always going, except for weird blips and war. It's always going lower. Less crime. We're trying to figure it out. But if something goes fucking psycho,
right?
Shot boom. If Putin says fuck you, if Putin really does have cancer and just fucking America,
glasses,
fuck yeah, and then we go back to the worst of the worst, and it takes a long time to get to where we are now. It takes 10,000 years.
Yeah.
It takes 10,000 years to get to the place that we've claimed right now. And we can stop this in its tracks. It is possible. The forces that are moving this country in the wrong direction, this terrifying direction, they have power because we've voted them in. That's a real thing. And if you don't vote them in anymore, and then the person you vote in has courage, things can change. And if people demand it, things can change, but they have to fucking demand it.
Right.
So then they have to pay attention, and that's a problem.
Right. Yeah.
Because you get headlines like that. You get headlines like that fucking Al Pacino thing.
Right.
They're just lying. They're just trying to get clicks. That's why CNN is dangerous. Because CNN, with their biased reporting, the way they communicate things, people don't trust the news anymore.
Right.
That's what freaks people out now.
Well, okay.
They don't know who to trust anymore. So there's this chaos state where people are very uncertain about sources of information.
And you know what? I must say, that is a good thing. I think that the weird voodoo that has fallen upon so many people, believing that what's in your phone, what you're looking at, is a reflection of truth, is really bad. If you want to talk about...
The problem is sometimes it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
that's the problem.
The job is you have to discern one from the other. The idea with educating people wasn't teach them how to do fucking algebra. It was teach them how to be rational, separate truth from non-truth, because the moment people are incapable of doing that, then they become susceptible to con artistry at the highest level. And the moment that happens, you get all the awful events that have happened throughout history. So the problem is, man, this replication of reality. We're getting secondhand, no matter what it is. If you're watching TV or you're looking at your phone or whatever, you're getting secondhand digitized reality. You've taken fundamental truth, which is nature and you've converted it into some kind of warped digital representation of it. And so the more you are sort of harmonizing with that, the less you're harmonizing with just basic fundamental truth. You go outside, you look at the trees, you hear the birds, you know what season it is. That's real. Like, that's not misinformation. That's just fundamentally true. You know, but we've become separated from that by many, many layers of bullshit. And you're right. And so now what do we have? We have like a people who are terrified. Have you heard the term fear American? Fear American?
No.
Yeah, like Americans go to other countries and they're all fucking freaked out. And like and just completely anxiety ridden because of the connection to world events or a reality tunnel that's being presented to them by wizards who are getting gold from the alchemists. That's basically what's happening. Is the alchemy guild is paying the media wizards, and the media wizards are like casting a spell on everyone to believe this very specific reality tunnel that is not real. And if it is it's the very best, it's temporarily real, but it's warped. It's just slightly distorted. That's the problem. It's like something in there is true, but it's been distorted in this bizarre way by the media wizards. And now everyone has like lost track of the basic human ability that has to be cultivated to detect bullshit. Like, you need to grow that in yourself. You need to be able to look at anything and think, I don't think this is true. Where did this come from? Who's like, every time something pops up, you're very good about it on your podcast, by the way. You like point it out, like, wait, what did you say? And then you look it up. And then if it's not true, you admit you were hoodwinked. And you're like, but that's not happening with most people. They're just reading the fucking thing and they're not researching it. And my God, that is how you get pickpocketed, man. That's how you that's the worst predicament to find yourself in.
That's such a great way of pointing it out. That's exactly what it's like. You're being mentally pickpocketed.
Yeah, man. And you're being like warped and manipulated. In social psychology, one of the weird problems of having a human brain is we remember information, we don't remember the source. So if I can just give you some bullshit information, you will forget I told it to you in a hot tub when my eyes were dilated and I was just like rambling about something. You might accidentally remember that truth is truth because you forgot the source. And so your brain spits it out. It's like, yeah, this is reality. You don't know that got implanted into you by someone who wanted you to buy shit. You can't remember that.
What a great rant.
Sorry, man. I feel like I have
That was amazing.
Do I have
boogers?
Snot coming out of my nose? Can you see?
No, I don't see anything.
Okay, good.
You need a tissue? We'll get you a tissue.
No, it's gone. I just was getting neurotic about it. You don't want to like be rambling about fucking aliens and pharmaceutical companies with a nasty fucking...
Well, that just makes you more human, Duncan.
I hope I am.
Yeah. I feel like it's all like a real example of why we need regulation in that regard. Like, you need a government oversight that is completely objective, that's not influenced by money.
Yeah.
That decides what people can and can't say. Hey, like, what are the odds? Like, let's just get crazy. Like, if CNN is the news, what are the odds that CNN would publish an honest, investigative discovery into vaccine injuries?
It would be amazing if they did. I mean, if they...
Could you imagine them being able to do that?
I could see,
right,
in a strategy meeting, as they're trying to like get the network back up to snuff, somebody being like, what if we do this? And then there's money involved. And then I could see suddenly, like, maybe at some point...
But the money involved is from the ads.
Right. It would have to go subscription-based or something. Like
you have to go back to CNN Plus. We're reviving CNN Plus to
Dude,
do real journalism.
I loved CNN Plus.
Did you?
No,
you were the only guy.
I never fucking watched. Nobody. No one has ever said that.
You're like, Brian Stelter has the best book club.
CNN Plus definitely, like, at least like the whatever Fox's subsidiary was.
I think that's still available and works. They showed Roseanne Barr's stand-up comedy special on Fox Nation.
Yeah, on Fox Nation.
Is that what it is? Is it called Fox Nation?
Yeah, Fox Nation. And I'll admit, man, I came close to
subscribing?
Only because, like, I like to watch, Lifetime movies? Do you ever watch Lifetime movies?
They don't have them on Fox Nation. Please tell me that's
No,
not
they don't
true.
have Lifetime movies. But Fox Nation seemed like a Lifetime movie because of like they're like really veering towards conservative, hyper moralistic sort of like this,
Christian values.
Christian values.
Yeah.
That's
the antidote.
But turning the volume up too high on that creates inadvertent comedy. And so like I was like, fuck man, I want to watch that. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be really funny to watch.
That's a great thing to watch on mushrooms.
Watch
that on mushrooms.
Oh my god,
it looks so insane.
I
used to watch OAN.
What's that?
America's News Network. Is that what it is?
I never watched that one.
What was that one that they had? Was it OAN? Yeah, but that's not what it stands for. I don't know. I know. I said it totally wrong.
It's One American News.
One American News.
What is that?
It's that. It's like turned up to 11. It's Trumpism turned up to 12.
Yeah.
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 Is it? Like, is that what you describe it? It's very much a right-wing channel.
Dude, I think you need to take dips in all the propaganda, you know?
It's
like
a far-right, pro-Trump cable news channel founded by Robert Herring Sr. Here's the real problem with any of those things. It's hard to find a good anchor.
Very hard.
Finding someone that can tell you what's going on where you don't want to stab them.
Yeah, dude.
It's hard.
Really hard.
A lot of those people are fucking super annoying. Like, the way they communicate is annoying.
Well, dude, they have to read a fucking teleprompter,
100%.
right? So it's like they're basically like automatons who have
they're scared to lose their job.
Of course.
They just fired Don Lemon.
They fucking
the smartest, most talented guy in all of broadcasting, and he can't make it. Dude. We're all on the chopping block.
Dude, let me tell you, man, the day they cut canned lemon, a quiver went through everyone at CNN like, Jesus fucking Christ, we're all in danger here. They got rid of lemon. They plucked the lemon from the tree and they left this void. Now what? How do you replace lemon?
Well, they don't have any stars anymore, right? Like,
do they have Blitzer?
Who's exciting about? Is he still on that? Wolf Blitzer.
Blitzer.
What a great name.
Best name ever.
Wolf Blitzer.
Wolf Blitzer.
Sounds like a guy should be in a fucking 1940s World War II movie.
I know, dude.
Wolf Blitzer.
Wolf Blitzer.
The head of the pack, leading America to victory. Come on, boys. Pain don't hurt.
Yes, Commander Blitzer.
Like a Patrick Swayze type character.
Lindsey Graham wants us to kill Russians.
Best money we ever spent.
Best money we ever spent.
Yeah, he's still there. He's been there since 1990.
That's my
Wolfie. What's up, baby? What? Look at the hair on that bastard. You lucky fucking devil.
Yeah.
Beautiful salt and pepper hair, slick back, receding a little, but dignified.
Dude, that's incredible hair. Blitzer has great hair.
Got a great beard. Look at his beard.
That's
good looking fella.
Someone does that
great
for him.
Name.
Wolf Blitzer.
Oh yeah, he's well coiffed. He's a star. He's been there since 1990.
I got
he's
no
the
problems
glue
with
that
him.
keeps CNN together.
I don't mind Blitzer. I can't remember. Like, I feel like I don't remember the last time I watched Blitzer, but like there was something about him I liked when I was like watching that shit.
Well, he seemed a little, he was questioning things.
Yeah.
Like the way he would talk to people. Seemed like he was actually doing a little bit of journalism there.
Yeah.
Really trying to get to so many times, and you see people like, if you see the, did you ever see the Biden, Don Lemon conversation?
No.
It's bananas.
Can we?
Because it's Don Lemon trying, and first of all, Don Lemon is a fairly catty fellow, right? Like it seems
very.
It seems like if he didn't like that guy, if that was Donald Trump and he was talking that way, he would have jumped all over him.
Right.
But he's letting Joe Biden like ramble and just go off and forget what he's talking about. And did you get the vaccine? Yeah, it works. Yeah, and then I was telling people. Like, it's a wild, like, stream of consciousness. Like, Biden losing his place. Sometimes he loses his place.
Yeah.
He does it with Don Lemon. And Don Lemon is there just like a curator of a child that was just given some psychoactive drugs and they're bouncing off the walls. You just have to watch.
Dude, that probably gave him a fucking stomach ulcer. To have
watch
to, like,
this.
not...
Yeah, to not be able to call it out. But also, it's like, if this was anybody else. So if you're a journalist, are you a journalist? Like, are you a human being that is the mouthpiece of America, right? Are you a human being that is there observing some pretty strange behavior? And you'd want to, like, expand on that. Like, what are you saying? Like, why are you saying it that way? Like, what is happening to you?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Can you think clearly? If this was the opposition, see, this is the thing about having anchors that are so like, you're gonna have anchors that have opinions. Always, everybody has opinions, but to have an anchor that's so clearly, so rigidly one-sided. So watch this. Play this.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or you know, or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're, no, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people, if your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon, or whatever, you know, something, or, you know, whether those aliens are here or not, you know, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it?
Talk to me, bitch. I got the answers. That guy sounds like us. He sounds like us after a couple of hits of laughing gas.
Dude, no.
Like Joey's weed?
No, man, that's elder abuse, man. That's like, you know, that's kind of like when that's happening, you're going to go, okay, Dad, okay, okay, we're going to sleep.
Edibles. I'd like to think he's on edibles.
Dude, I don't know, man.
I like to think this whole thing is just so ridiculous to him. He can't believe his son has fucking dropped his laptop off at a fucking repair shop filled with all sorts of evidence of crimes and dick porn, feet porn, chaos.
Running amok. His kid is just going wild. Look at that.
Measuring coke.
It's fresh off the CIA plane.
I like how he measures it, though. Smart. Even though he's like doing crack, he's like, let me make sure I don't overdose.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got like a lot of money on the line here.
Right, yeah.
You know, I mean, if my dad dies,
it's very presidential the way he weighs crack.
I mean, if my dad dies, I get a good sum. It's like a Succession thing.
Yeah.
Like the show Succession.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I got into it, and it was so intense, I stopped watching it. I was absorbed into it, and then it was like, man, I can't do this every night.
It's really good.
It's so good.
It's really good. It's a really, really good show, and it ends amazing. Bravo. Bravo to the ending. I just want to say, this is the best ending of any series I've ever watched. This is the only, and even The Sopranos, I get what they were doing, but at the end, I'm like, really? Oh.
I didn't finish The Sopranos either.
The last episode of The Sopranos is kind of like, I get what he's doing. I get it. You can't fault him. The fucking show was just genius. You can't have a bad word to say about one episode that I didn't enjoy. The show was amazing. They literally made a psychopath a hero.
Yeah.
He was our guy. We wanted Tony Soprano was the fucking man. He had enough moral fiber that we accepted him.
Right.
And it was attractive that he was that guy. He's this fat guy. He's banging hot chicks, doing coke, and he's running the mob.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, the episodes I saw.
It's fucking great. And the end, they're all just sitting there, and this guy seems to be paying attention to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the idea is that the guy killed them.
No shit.
Yeah. So they're all hanging out here. And that's the end. And the car parks.
That's amazing. That's a cool ending.
They're all eating onion rings. These people get out of the car and they start running. Oh, that's the daughter. She comes and sits down. That's right.
No spinoffs.
That's it. Don't stop. Bam. Just stops.
Wow.
And he's looking at somebody.
That's so genius. That's so cool.
Looking at someone about to get riddled by bullets.
Whoa, that's so cool. Man, fuck.
Imagine
that's
living
amazing.
that life. You're probably just waiting for the day with someone.
Yeah.
You killed so many people.
Yeah.
You've done so many horrible things.
Yeah, it's so fucked up, man. Just think about that. Think of like, not to get back to the Ukraine thing, but think like being fucking Putin. How fucked up that feels, man. To like every day, what a rotten fucking day you're having. I mean, this is the thing, man. It's like with Biden, with Putin, all these people, they're too old. Give them they need to, it's like they're sucked into something they can't get out of. They all have their various maladies. And somehow we're letting that happen. Like globally, we're letting people who are clearly not okay up here, who are clearly like, man, like if you saw, let's imagine you walk into a 7-Eleven and you see some old dude talking like Biden was talking to Don Lemon. If you didn't stop and say, hey, are you okay? Where are you? What's going on with you? You would be like an asshole. Like that's someone you help.
Yeah.
not someone you like put into a fucking job that melts people half your age down. And like all the shit aside,
Melts people.
yeah,
Melts people.
Where's the fucking compassion
It's
for this
crazy.
old man who needs to be like enjoying the last
But the
years
thing
of
is,
his?
he's the I'm having this discussion while I'm wearing wolf feet.
I didn't realize that I am too. Oh fuck!
But what are their options? That's the problem. What are their options? They have a vice president that seems like she's not the best at it. And then who is on the horizon? Like who's going to take that spot? Who's going to take that leadership position?
Dude,
Who's there that makes sense?
the option is just start telling the truth. Like the moment,
Right, but that's not going to happen with them. So
Right.
what they want to do is win, and they want to stay in power, and even they can even justify that by saying that we are going to do the overall good. We have like great
Right.
ideas about social justice. We have great ideas about reshaping
Yeah.
the economy and making things more fair, and you know, they've got some good points. It's not like the liberals don't have things that I agree with. I agree with most of what they say.
Sure.
Most of the idea, like the civil ideas.
like what?
Most of the things about equality, most of the things about like the idea that there's like real income inequality in this country. It's real, and it's kind of creepy.
Right.
And there's a source, and the source is opportunity. And if we don't create opportunity for these people that live in these horrible places, then we don't give a fuck about them. And then if we wonder why there's so much crime, we wonder why there's so much violence. And then you have to wonder, is there an industry that's based around making sure that people stay criminals?
Right.
Well, there is. It's the prison industrial complex. It's a real thing.
Right.
They need prisoners. And then you find out that prison guards unions lobbied to keep marijuana illegal.
Right.
You're like, what? Because they want more people in their prison.
Yeah.
They want to lock people up so they can make money.
Right.
It's crazy.
Vampirism.
So the liberals are right on a lot of these. I just think they're wrong in the approach. I think the approach is not to just exonerate people and let people out of jail and let fucking chaos ensue and defund the police. I think the approach is to start dumping money into the cities. Start figuring out how to set up community centers. Start figuring out how to get people healthy food. Start figuring out how to protect people from gang violence. In fact, maybe have more police so that the police can prevent people from getting shot and killed so they feel safe in their community. But you have to get better police. So you need more money for training, more money for funding, more money for salary, and make them feel like a respected, appreciated part of the community, and then have oversight over them. And make sure that the people that have oversight over them are good people. Good people exist.
Yeah.
They're out there. We're mostly good. Human beings, I think, are mostly good.
Fundamentally good.
Fundamentally good.
But we get covered up by defense mechanisms. That's the problem. That fundamental goodness is covered up and warped by defense mechanisms and confused motivations. I mean, fuck. That's the saddest part is it's like when you say they want to win,
Yeah.
their idea of winning isn't even winning. It's just holding power. That's not winning.
But that's winning. They think it's winning, and that's what human beings do. We naturally play this game of winner and loser with almost everything. That's why neighborhoods, like people try to, that's the expression, keeping up with the Joneses. You're trying to win. You know, like, hey, Mike got a Corvette. Fuck him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Ooh, Mike, how do you like my Ferrari, you piece of shit?
Right.
You know, it's like classic comedy sitcom tropes.
Right. Yeah, that to me is like, you're right. I think you're right.
People want to win, man.
People want to win, and
that's why it's dangerous to have cops pull people over. You know, there's something about that too. Like you definitely should pull people over because they're bad, but cops want to write tickets. They want to catch people. They want to bust people. They're supposed to bust people.
It's the profit motive is fucking everything up. But it's like also what is creating some of the coolest shit ever.
Yes.
That's the problem. Like it's a double-edged sword. On one side, competition creates insane innovation based on market pressure. It's incredible. On the other side of it, you get people who shouldn't be millionaires. You get people who somehow have overcome their desire to have the next Ferrari and realized, oh, the better thing to do is help. Like, I just want to help. The idea was it's a public servant, not someone who's like manipulating the fucking stock market or selling their shit. That's the problem, man. It's really insidious. And it's like on one side, it's like, all right, so if we regulate it, Well, now you've got like the hardcore socialism starts happening. Now you've got redistribution of wealth. Now you're trying to like reset the game in the middle of the game. And lots of people are like, no, fuck that. We're not resetting the game, right? But then on the other side, if you don't do anything about it, then the game like takes over everything. It's like government is now no longer a representative government at all. At all. It's just a weird bag of greedy miscreants who are all getting various checks from various, sometimes competitive industries and making laws based on that. And that's not a government. I don't know what that is. That's a casino or something. That's just people who got to the high roller table. No, it's like people who are like, I'm done gambling. I'm going to control the fucking casino.
Well, that's what people are terrified about with generational wealth. That's why people are terrified of like very, very wealthy families that have transferred this money down to their children. Like, and the children don't earn it. That's the king. That's Joffrey.
Right. Yeah.
You know, everybody knows what that is. That's why Succession is such a good show, because you can relate to it.
Right.
Like, what fucking bizarre reality do they exist in?
Dude, I don't know, but I wish I'd experienced it. It looks fucking fun, baby. Oh my God. Can you imagine bursting out of that womb into some Illuminati fucking delivery chamber?
Guns blazing.
Holy shit. It's the best. Oh
What a
my
life.
God. What a life.
Private jets from birth.
Oh, fucking
Diamonds.
Incredible. Access to
Rolexes.
the adrenochrome chambers.
Adrenochrome on the left.
On the left. Just
use your irises. They'll let you right in.
Dude, I can't even. That is just so crazy to imagine what that's like.
What is that like?
You never know. You never know what it's like to like worry about being able to like, you know, have you ever like gone out to eat with people and you have to run your credit card and you're like, please God, let it go through. How overdrawn is it? You know what I mean? Like those moments of like, I'm about to get humiliated in front of my friends. You've never known that. You've only known endless, infinite opulence. Your nannies have fucking nannies. You've got like, you're being educated by like some of the smartest people on the planet. Your diapers cost as much as like most people's like wardrobe for the year. You know,
in
like
the world, for sure.
Yeah. That's a really cool incarnation, man.
Strange. Because it doesn't give you the adversity that you need as a young person. It doesn't give you the challenges to overcome. It doesn't give you the real possibility that you could be broke someday. The real possibility that you might not have enough food. I think there's a superpower in growing up poor. I really do. It never escapes me. Never. Growing up poor, when I was a young boy and we were drinking like powdered milk and living off welfare, food stamps.
Wow.
I remember that. I remember that clearly. I remember shame.
Right.
I remember all of it.
Yeah.
And so also, I saw my parents build out of that and then move to a respectable middle-class suburb so that we could go to a good high school.
Right.
So I saw what hard work and all the thinking that was involved in planning this out properly led to get out of that.
Yeah.
But we were in San Francisco in the 1970s, and it was fucking weird. I felt very vulnerable already, but then on top of that, to be poor, and then on top of that, to be a latchkey kid. So I was just like out wandering. I could just like leave and go anywhere.
Right. Yeah, man. That formed you.
Yeah, that forms you. And if you grow up on private jets, and if you grow up always knowing that you're going to have money, always knowing that you're going to be fine, always knowing that you're going to be a part of an empire at one point that has wealth, the likes of which no one will ever be able to explain, where your children will be billionaires. You can divide it evenly amongst their children. They'll be billionaires as well. It's nuts.
It's like a different universe.
But those kind of people that grow up in that environment will never think like you do. They won't. They'll never think like I do. They won't. There's like extra gears that you have that you're born with when you live in poverty. I think that's like, you look at all the great athletes, almost all of them unless they grew up in households that were like very strong households where the father really encouraged athletics and was like really a great coach, and the kid like grew up competing and really enjoyed it. That's possible too. But in fighting in particular, boy, it's a lot of people from fucking dire poverty. It's a lot of people.
But don't you think it's possible as a parent? Because, like, I mean, my kids aren't scraping by, and I know your kids aren't. Isn't it possible as a parent, if you're lucky enough to not have to worry about that shit our parents worried about?
Yes.
To still create a childhood and a life that isn't imbalanced and has within it the possibility for failure and having to like figure out how to do shit.
Yes,
right?
100%. It's possible. It's just a different challenge, right? Like in life presenting you with challenges that you could have never predicted, you didn't ask for, and they're right in front of you and you have to deal with them. People that go through that sort of a life, I think they have like way more defenses up, way more awareness of deception, way more awareness of people's ulterior motives and people who are creepy, people who aren't being genuine. And you and I have both encountered plenty of people like that.
Yeah, sure.
Where you'll pull me aside and go, hey, man, I don't think this guy's cool. Like, there's something wrong with this guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, I'm not going to get that necessarily from everybody. Some people are not going to see that.
Right.
They're not going to have been in dangerous situations where they had to like realize the consequences of not recognizing these kind of people early.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Yeah.
So you learn, I mean, this is it sucks because it's like, what do you get? You get an inflamed fucking amygdala is what you get. You get like, your fucking brain just loves to spray out cortisol. And so like that's what you get because you came up with that. You watched your fucking parents freak the fuck out for potentially your entire childhood. And so you're freaked out. You're living in like a weird battlefield that doesn't even exist anymore that was your childhood. Whereas like some people they didn't have that. So they're you know, they don't think about shit like that. They don't think about like, oh my God, is this person okay? Or, oh my God, they don't have that we have. I think it's, dude, honestly, man, I don't know. I do agree with you that adversity has to be in a human life. That if you remove adversity from a life, you do an incredible disservice to
the potential of that life.
To the potential of that life.
Yeah.
Because it's just physics.
But it can be in anything. It could be in disciplines. It could be in games they play. It could be in sports. It can be on a lot of things. But they have to do things. Like, you got to do shit.
You have to confront the learning curve.
Yeah. So you got to learn how to get better at stuff. And then you got to be excited about that feeling that you get when you get better at stuff.
Yes.
That's giant. That's a giant part of it.
Dude, that's it. That's it. And you start connecting with that feeling as being actual success.
Yeah.
That's actual success. Not like whatever else the world gives you is fantastic. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But if you never had that feeling in a lifetime and you were like sleeping on bags of fucking cash, it wouldn't mean anything.
It wouldn't mean anything. But that's the weirdness of winning the lottery. Right? That's the weirdness of all of a sudden becoming a part of this like hyper wealthy elite. And that's the weirdness of anybody's life in North America. Like if you're in North America, first of all, you hit the fucking lottery.
Right.
If you're in the United States, oh shit, you don't even have to get vaccinated. If you're in Canada used to be an awesome spot to live until the lockdowns. Then it was like, what is happening up there?
Yeah, what is happening up there?
Going on?
It's like of all the places you would expect to have some like encroaching fascism happening. Never Canada. Never on my list of. It's very odd.
And they're doing it under the guise of social justice, and it's so creepy.
But that is how you do
it.
Like if you want to do fascism, that's how you do it. Like you don't do fascism by saying like, "Hey, I'm going to control the shit out of you motherfuckers." You do it by saying, "Hey, you better watch out because this thing is coming. And I'm the only one who can keep you from that thing coming." Fill in whatever that thing is.
Bro, when they lock people out of their bank accounts for protesting, when they had the Freedom Convoy, they locked people out of their bank accounts.
Dude.
They locked people out of their bank accounts that donated. not even that went there, that donated. You can't agree with them. You can't agree with them. We're going to take your money.
So spooky.
That's crazy.
So spooky.
That's so scary because it sends ripples of fear through everybody. And it should. It should. Just because you think you're doing it for the right reasons, there's a reason why we are so protective of the Bill of Rights. We're so protective of the Constitution. If you don't have something like that where it's written down, they just keep pushing the rules.
Yes.
They keep changing. They're making all these crazy new woke rules in Canada, and you can't say shit about it. There's censorship of everything on the internet that they don't like. They can pull things down. They can do all kinds of wild shit. I don't know about the internet. What is it? I know it's about broadcasting. I know there's like they've passed some new censorship legislation. I don't think it's the internet. I'm exaggerating. But what it is spooky because that guy is like not being honest about what he did during COVID. He's saying they never forced anybody to get vaccinated. They fucking kind of did. You ruined their life if they didn't. Censorship bill. The bill makes changes to Canada's Broadcasting Act. The legislation requires streaming services such as Netflix and Spotify to pay to support Canadian media content like music and TV shows. It also requires the platform promote Canadian content. Now, is that it?
It doesn't seem terrible.
It says regulate, though. Like, what else is in the regulate? You could say that's the good positive spin on it. It's a nationalistic effort.
Yeah.
They want to promote more Canadian content.
Still weird.
But I know they've had that in the past. You know, they had that for, like, radio and for television. They had rules up there. I remember that because somebody I knew was a DJ up there. The bill makes changes to Canada's Broadcasting Act. The legislation requires streaming services such as Netflix and Spotify to pay to supply. It also requires the platforms to promote Canadian content. Specifically, the bill says online undertakings shall clearly promote and recommend Canadian programming in both official languages as well as Indigenous languages. The changes give the Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission, Canada's broadcast regulator, broad powers over digital media companies, including the ability to impose financial penalties for violations of the Act. The government says the legislation is necessary to impose the same regulations and requirements in place for traditional broadcasters on online media platforms. Right now, broadcasters are required to spend at least 30% of their revenue on supporting Canadian content.
Jesus.
Online streaming has changed how we create, discover, and consume our culture, and it's time we updated our system to reflect that, a government news release on the bill says. That's not good. None of that is good. Because them saying, are we or are we not moving to a global entertainment world for the English language? Because it seems like it's kind of moving in that direction, right? I mean, some of the best podcasts in the world, like Trigonometry, comes out of the UK. There's a lot of stuff out of America that's very popular over there.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit if it's Canadian or if it's American? Like, and you're going to regulate the internet.
But to me, the real creepy thing is the state is saying what Canadian culture is.
Right.
Like, culture, isn't it supposed to be something that kind of spontaneously emerges from groups of people?
But they're not exactly saying that. They're saying you have to say that you could look at it in an altruistic way. You could say this is promoting Canadian content, and it'll encourage more art to be created in Canada because there's more opportunities.
Sure. That's fine.
But you can't regulate that. You can't legislate that because you can't give those fuckheads power over creativity. You just can't do it. You can't do it.
Shouldn't.
You'll ruin it all. You'll ruin the internet. You'll ruin it all. The bill's journey through Parliament has been difficult. Rodriguez tabled the legislation in the House of Commons on February 2022. Nearly a year later, the Senate sent C11 back to the House Commons with amendments. The House accepted most of the amendments but rejected others. So has it passed or not passed?
This is the part I was trying to get at.
One of the most contentious points of debate is whether C11 would apply to user-generated content, such as podcasts and online videos. The government has insisted that the legislation is not intended to regulate independent content creators.
Not intended is a rough.
Not intended is not a good way. I don't like. It's not intended, but it could be used in that way.
Right.
They're just going to have more power to tell you what to do. And if you are a Canadian person who is broadcasting a podcast out of Vancouver, and you have a narrative that doesn't fit with what Trudeau wants you to say, you could run into trouble. You could run into trouble. You can't have them have any power over the internet.
No.
You got to say no.
Dude,
But it seems like they passed it.
I'm checking to see the past.
Here's the thing.
I don't know. I'm checking.
If you subscribe to whatever the particular modality of your government is in regards to censorship, controlling art, controlling public dialogue, right? You think, this is what you think. You think, well, they have to because I'm in danger of this or that, whatever. Maybe
Not only that, they're good.
They're good. So
Trudeau's online censorship law, Bill C-11, passes Parliament.
But dude, the problem is
fucking Canada.
You are thinking your government is going to stay controlled by the people whose ethics you believe in. But you look historically at the world, coups happen.
Oh, yeah.
Secret coups happen. And then all of a sudden, all these rights you gave away, you've given them to the people who you were fighting against.
Bad guys.
Dude, that's the problem. It doesn't. Governments don't last long enough to let them have that much power.
A previous Senate amendment to exempt user-generated content from the bill was rejected by senators on Wednesday evening.
God damn.
So that means user-generated content, like podcasts, are now under the grip of the Canadian government.
State. They got
Congratulations.
That's so scary, man.
It's so dumb because it's an incremental push. Jordan Peterson's talked about this. This is how it works. They push you a little bit, you don't resist. They push you a little bit more, you don't resist. They push you a little bit more, you don't resist. And then you realize how far you've gone from the initial point. And that's what's happening. And that's what just happened in Canada.
Yeah, just a very slow trajectory towards state control.
It's the fucking internet. You can't say that someone has to have 30% Canadian content on the internet. That's bonkers. 30% of Netflix. Do you know how goddamn insane that is?
That's a lot.
Do you know what
Canadian
they're requiring
shows.
them to do? That there's so much. You got to. Maybe they have to spend 30% of their budget to promote it in Canada. Fuck out of here,
dude! It's awful. I can't believe it's happening. It's just so fucked up that we allow this shit to happen.
But also, why? Well, why would anybody even want that control? Why? What's wrong with you?
Well,
what's wrong with you that you want to control the dispensing of information?
You're lying. Right? That's pretty much it. If you're fucking lying, you need to control people's ability to challenge whatever lie you're telling.
Right.
And the more egregious the lie, theoretically, the more you have to shut any kind of counter argument down. I mean, it's
my favorite conspiracy is that he's Castro's kid.
He does look like him.
He looks a lot like his dad too, though.
Kid. Yeah.
The problem is his dad looks like Castro.
Dude.
But it looks a lot like Castro, though.
I mean, maybe that's just something that starts. What if that's what happens? The more fascist you become, the more your
Elizabeth
face
Warren
turns.
It ruined her career. You should do it too. Take a DNA test, bro.
I would, if I was Justin Trudeau, I would do that just to shame all the people who said I was Castro, right?
What if it turns out he's 72% Cuban?
You don't tell anybody.
He's probably taking that test. He's probably taking that test and called his mom. What the fuck, Mom? Son, it was a lonely weekend. Castro's a wonderful man.
Kind of cooler though, right? I like the fucking.
Unless you're living under his grip,
dude. Of course, but if you're gonna go fascist, put on a costume, right? I don't like it. You know what I mean? I like Castro's. I'm wearing fucking camouflage. You are not going to mistake me for anything other than an authoritarian leader. Look at what he's dresses exactly the way they
dressed as a military leader.
Exactly, but to me when fascism becomes insidious, when it learns to disguise itself as the opposite of what it is. Oh, dude, that is so spooky. That's where it gets really scary. They're wolf in sheep's clothing.
Did you ever see the video where they're asking Trudeau how his family is using recyclables and what are they doing to stop this?
Did not see that.
He's talking about his family drinking water. They've switched to bottles of water that are made out of paper. Those box bottles of water. You got to see this because this is the real person. Forget all the speeches.
Right.
Forget all. This is the real person that they've allowed to be in control of their liberty.
Right.
See if you can find that. He's having a conversation about box water being. Yeah. Put it back from the beginning. What's it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of when we have water bottles out of a plastic, away from plastic towards paper.
It's hard to watch, but hard to look away. The Prime Minister...
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's their exceptional leader.
I mean...
That's when you catch him answering a question.
Paper, like drink box water bottles sort of things.
The Prime...
Yeah, drink box water bottles.
Sort of things.
Yeah. That's what he's done. That's the big contribution. I'm sure there's more, right? I'm sure he's done more. I'm sure he switched to solar. I'm sure he eats organic, whatever. But the point is, like, that's the guy. That's the guy that's telling you we have to be able to regulate podcasts.
Right. That's fucked
because
up.
if we don't regulate podcasts, someone could play this very clip, like you and I are doing, from the great state of Texas.
Yeah, man.
Where a person could talk shit about someone who should be talked shit about in that regard.
If you want this to run in Canada, you're going to have to put a Canadian flag up or something.
I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think it's going to be the issue of this 30% thing. Like, what does that mean? Does it mean if it's not broadcasting just in Canada?
30%
so if you're talking
Canadian
about
guests.
Spotify Canada only, that Spotify Canada only has to like stuff itself with 30% Canadian content. I mean, maybe they have enough Canadian content already. A lot of great stuff comes from Canada. I'm sure a lot of great podcasts come from Canada. Maybe they already have. Like, what's the percentage of podcasts right now that come from Canada? See if we can find that. Let's just go to Spotify. Just say, Google, what percentage of podcasts come from Canada on Spotify?
I wonder if it applies to porn. Like, porn sites will have to have 30% Canadian porn.
Fucking. Yeah, they have to. Rule's a rule, bro. The government is going to force people to make more Canadian porn.
That's the problem with shit like that. Is it like it gets so absurd when you
Right.
start unpackaging it and realize like all the weird things that like.
Yeah.
And P.S. Who determines what is Canadian content? Like, let's say it was shot in the United States, but
Harlan Williams is a star.
yeah.
He's Canadian.
Yeah, and who
Right.
who is in control of saying this is Canadian content, this is not? What if Americans go to Canada, shoot something? Is that Canadian content?
How about they just do 30% of their programming is Tom Green? We're good.
That would be incredible. There would be world peace.
I can't seem to find that information. I don't know how I would even do it because I'm trying and it's not popping up that way.
What percentage of podcasts come from Canada? Just try that.
I don't know that anyone's even tracking that information.
They
I don't
might.
know if anyone cares where they come
Let's
from.
see. Let's give it a go.
Yeah, man. I just it's so.
I know it's a weird Google, but I think
that is a weird
It's
Google.
not going to get a response.
Maybe I should call
It's
the
like
CEO
77.
of Spotify
Yeah,
live on
it's
the
saying
air.
what percentage of Canadians listen to podcasts, which is not what I asked.
Oh,
that's what I typed in, but that's what Google thinks I'm looking for. You know, because it's a weird question.
How about what percentage of podcasts are created in Canada? Try that.
Podcasts are created
in Canada. Maybe created is not the right
it's
word.
the same problem. It's not. It doesn't think I'm asking the right question.
So maybe there's a chart out there of podcasts by country.
So that's what I have, but that list we're number one. So it's just listing the most popular Canadian podcasts in Canada. Sorry. Not that are just coming from there and within there. You'd have to talk to someone in Canada who's tracking all that information, and everyone has to be honest about where they're uploading and you know.
Fun.
First of all, shout out to Canada for making me number one.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was looking for a Canadian
For now.
named podcast, but these all just seem like normal.
Yeah, those are normal.
popular
And Caller
podcasts.
Daddy,
Yeah.
Huberman Lab number 3.
Jordan Peterson's
yeah,
number 9.
Jordan Peterson.
Seems
Yeah,
pretty similar to the American list. So
damn, a lot of people have been on this one.
That's cool. That must feel good.
It's fucking weird, I'll tell you that. But you want some coffee?
Yes.
Here you go, bro.
Thank you, friend. Yeah, man. I don't know. I try not to. The other thing about it is, the more you fixate on the.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers, my brother. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
2,000.
2,000 episodes.
The more you fixate on the state is an egregore. It's a thing that. So the more people that fixate on the thing, the more powerful it grows. That's the other thing. The more it likes. You know, like people, when you realize they are enjoying negative attention?
Yes.
That's the state. It doesn't care what flavor the attention is. It just wants attention.
Yeah.
And the more it gets, the more powerful it gets, the more
Yeah.
people believe in it. And that's all if you believe it's going to hurt you or if you believe it's going to help you, you're still supporting it. You're
Yes.
still bringing it into increasing levels of power.
Yeah.
So that's the other problem is like everyone gets all fixated on the government. Like that, the news has, many news stations have just turned into an endless conversation about the government. Nothing about like human interaction at the basic neighborhood level. Just about like, I don't know how many people are running the show, but not that many. And it's gives the impression that the state is God. Even if it's reacting to it, like, we got to stop this. You're still worshiping it, but with fear instead of like praise. You're still making it something incredibly powerful, which I'm not saying it's not. But how much of that power is just coming from a general belief in the egregore of whatever the fucking government is? Boy, I sure hope I'm using the word egregore right, because I said it. No, don't Google it.
You had it right.
You had it right.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
You
Thank
usually get
God.
them right. But Terrence McKenna had a great quote about that. He said, "We're doing the man's work for the man."
That's it.
That's a lot of it. Because they were
That's
like,
it.
how are you able to do these seminars where you're talking about things that are completely illegal? You're talking about these experiences with great detail. You're traveling all over the world. And he said, first of all, I think, to paraphrase him, one of the things was you have to keep it small. If you notice, he does these things, there's, 100 people there, 200 people, a few hundred people. It's very small, like informal gatherings of people that are like-minded. And, you keep your circle tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't tune in, drop out, all that shit where you're telling everybody to quit school and do ass like, hey. And that's Ken Kesey.
Yeah.
That's Ken Kesey and
Tim Leary.
That's Tim Leary and those guys, the Merry Pranksters, they were out of their fucking minds.
Out of their minds.
Out of their minds. And they were reformulating what society would be. And here's the thing. They're not wrong. They're not wrong. They weren't wrong. They
Right.
weren't wrong. Like, we want to think like, oh, what they did was wrong. No, you live and you die, okay? You live and you die. And along the way, you have experiences. And you are free to go the Merry Prankster route in my world.
Sure, absolutely.
In my world, you can go ham. Just do no harm. Just do no harm. Don't fuck people over. And you should all be, like, the same ethical and moral considerations should be applied to all civilizations.
Yeah.
But the idea that these people can't just, like, drop out and fucking sell grilled cheese sandwiches at a Grateful Dead concert, like, says who? Says who?
Says who?
Says who? Fuck you. Like,
Totally
fuck you.
fine.
Yeah, they should be able to do whatever they want.
Right.
And I think one of the things that I feel has come out of the internet is there's more of an understanding of the idea that there's not just one way to live your life. There's not just one life. There's this idea of, like, everyone has to get up at the same time and drive to some place to sit in a room with a fucking computer in front of them, entering information or dealing with whatever the fuck they're doing. And they're like, this is the only way to live life. No, this is the life that we've somehow or another oddly structured. And you can participate in it if you like. But if you don't, there's other ways to live life. And that's real. And I'm not saying you should get in a fucking school bus and everybody does acid.
I am.
But if you want to, I feel like you should be able to if you're informed, if you really know what you're getting into, if you really understand it. What we're scared of is young people getting sucked into cults, because that's a great way to get control over people. You tell them all to come with you, and you all do acid in the field, and then you don't do acid, and you tell these people that you're a god, and you fucking freak them out. And that's the fucking guy that owned the One World Theater.
Right.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was using acid. He was using hypnosis. And
He
just
probably threw some acid in
gullibility.
there.
He could have. But it was a lot of gullibility. It was a lot of, like, really idealistic young people that just wanted to learn from a real guru. We're scared of that. Because I think there's a natural part of the human brain that was exposed during COVID that also works to get people into cults. That human beings, like, look towards a light to follow. We look towards a guiding light. We
Savior.
look towards a savior, and we want to be right. We want to be correct. My savior is the real savior. My Buddha is the real Buddha. My God is the real God.
My Buddha is the real Buddha.
I'm sure. I don't doubt your Buddha.
I'm joking. I'm not saying that for
I
I know. I'm
You're
sorry.
my friend.
Sorry, I
You know
interrupted your rant with a
That's
shit
okay.
joke. I'm sorry.
It's a good joke. But I think that it's really, really important that we understand that this structure, the way this is all set up, is all set up by people that didn't have happy lives. They didn't
Yeah.
enjoy it. These people that are telling you have to do a certain thing and go in a certain way, like, look at them. They look like Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
So many of them look so unhealthy and so sad and so just confused as to what this is all about. And very few of them have had psychedelic experiences. Very few. Because if they did, they wouldn't be so sure. They wouldn't be able to just like keep saying the things the way they're saying them. They wouldn't be able to talk the way they're talking. They would just be sickened by it all.
Dude, I don't know. I think that's a pretty big assumption. I think that assumption, which we've all had who've benefited from psychedelics, that you get fucking Lindsey Graham, a nice whopping 500 microgram dose of LSD, he's going to come out the other side of that a new Lindsey Graham. I don't know. Man.
I'm talking about a camp. Okay, I'm talking about taking these motherfuckers to a camp in the jungle and dosing them up for like a year.
Fascist rehabilitation camp.
Fascist rehabilitation camp. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like one. Okay. Hey man,
I gotcha.
Well, I had one bad experience. I'll tell you right. I'm right back to the whiskey, and I'm ready to kill Russians.
I gotcha.
That's the best money I ever spent. You can go right back to that. You remember that joke I used to say about DMT? It's like pressing Control Alt Delete for your brain. When your brain reboots, your desktop is completely empty except for one folder, and that folder is labeled My Old Bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
And you can either decide to open up that folder and go into it and just fall back into your same patterns, or you can go, okay, let's look at this thing for what it really is.
Right.
Instead of being caught in these patterns of momentum and of the past and of bizarre groupthink.
Proclivities. I'm just listening to this audiobook. I'm always trying to listen to like some audiobook on spirituality. It's Pema Chodron's book, newest book about dying. Something like How We Live is How We Die. It's a very good book.
Yes.
But in this book, they're sort of talking about what happens when you die before your next life. Now, obviously, you're going to have to subscribe to the model of reincarnation for this, but it's really interesting, which is what you're talking about, these proclivities. Or it's called samsara. It's a loop. The cycle of suffering. The way that you know, those people are like, why do this always happens to be in a relationship, or the thing in your life that keeps repeating.
Yeah,
this is happening because of your proclivities. It's happening because of your attraction to this type of person, or this type of situation, or this type of job. And if you look at proclivities, they happen fast. Like in any given moment when you're making these decisions, it's not like you're spending a lot of time generally thinking about them. It's just spontaneous, like the next word out of your mouth. You're not down there like, what do I say next? It's just coming. So these are your proclivities. And then when you die, those proclivities are what inform your next birth. So if you have not gotten past your spontaneous decisions that cause lack of harmony in your life, then that will be the momentum that carries you into your next birth, which is why in Buddhism, like you'll hear shit like meditation is like preparing for death or practice of death. It's like you're trying to make it so that when you die, and if you die, nothing happens and you're dead forever, congratulations. Fuck yeah, you're out. You did it. You're great. But if you die and you keep going, and that model is correct, then you don't want to be reactive in between lives, because you will freak out, number one, that you're dead and you still have consciousness. That's very disturbing for some people who thought that you die forever. Now you're like, oh fuck, I'm still here. And then you don't like not having a body anymore. You want to get back in a body in the same way. So you fucking you just dive into the next life as quick as you can, instead of like having a little bit of like consideration in between. You know, and not just that, you're essentially your projections, the proclivities, they become holograms, basically.
So in that sense, do you believe in old souls?
I believe in momentum. I believe that we have one, right now, where I'm at right now is, I think that consciousness or awareness, or what's called non-conditioned awareness, before the overlay, I think we all share that consciousness. And we're like little ripples in that consciousness, and that's our karma. Mm-hmm. Ripples in this consciousness that we all share.
Right.
So I think every soul is out. It transcends time. Like it's all outside of time space.
Right.
But I guess there could be the potential that certain people's like addiction to rippling to being within the emptiness and having a body and a self and an identity probably keeps them coming back here over and over and over again. That's what I would say. Again, this is a cosmology that is unquantifiable, and I don't think it matters necessarily if it's real or not. At least for me, I use it as a tool to help give me the motivation to be less of an asshole. I mean, and also when you're dying and you know, whatever the next life may be for you or nothing, who gives a fuck? It's like you reincarnate in a lifetime. Like you have many incarnations in any given human lifetime. You will go through so many different phases. And the more you gain control of your ability to not react, the more you will inform what you're growing into. The more it is a mindful or intentional personal evolution versus a kind of chaotic like mutation based on just you instantly doing everything your brain tells you to do exactly in the moment.
Wow.
You know? So
I think that's very accurate. That very much resonates with me.
Yeah.
When you're saying that, I'm like, I see what you're saying. Because you kind of are like reincarnated as you develop and grow as a human being.
Absolutely.
And you have to be. Maybe that was like the analogy from the Bible. Maybe that was what that was about.
What?
Like the reincarnation. Like, who knows what the fuck they really meant when they wrote those things? It's so hard to tell. I mean, I think unless you could go back and read, like, have you ever read anything that's like translated? Like someone tweets something in Russian. Like there's a lot of MMA fighters. They'll tweet something in Russian and I'll translate it.
And
it's a little broken.
Garbled.
It doesn't make total sense because the structure of the language is so different than ours. That's the Bible, man. You could if you could translate, first of all, if you could go back to the oldest version they have, which I think the oldest version is the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's the oldest version of the stories that wound up in the Bible. It's not necessarily the Bible. It's
some stuff in the Dead Sea Scrolls didn't make the cut for the like it didn't get in there.
But a lot of the stories are kind of similar, but there's a lot of wild shit in there.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of wild shit in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I know. I mean, there's a lot of wild shit in the standard Bible they put in hotel room drawers.
But just imagine that that's the origin, right? So that's these animal skins that they found in clay pots in Qumran.
Yeah.
And they do DNA tests on the animal skins to make sure that they align the pieces because it's all fragmented and broken apart.
I had no idea
So they have to figure out how to do. Yeah, you have to have the same animal. So it's like, okay, well, this is the same animal skin because we ran a DNA test on it. And so then they get all the. It took forever. It took forever for them to do this. That's why that John Marco Allegro book is so fascinating.
Oh, dude.
The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross.
Yes,
That's why that book is fascinating. Because that guy studied the Dead Sea Scrolls for 14 years. And he was an ordained minister who became agnostic when he started studying theology. He was like, hold on. Let me reserve judgment.
Yeah.
And he was a straight scholar. And it was his determination after all these years of studying the Dead Sea Scrolls that the entire Christian religion was a misunderstanding. That what we think of it as today, what it really was about the consumption of psychedelic mushrooms and fertility rituals. And that it was all baked into the stories. And that the stories, like even like the apple, like the forbidden apple, I mean, they're talking about the Amanita muscaria mushroom that looked like an apple.
Yeah.
It's just red, and apparently even the translation of it, in some people translated it to red instead of like that apple, the term. That it actually means red. That's what they're trying to say. They're not even trying to say apple.
Yeah.
We've just converted it to an apple because that's the best, that story. That the way that story comes together, that you don't listen to God, you eat the apple, and then, oh, fuck, now you ruined everything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he's saying about the whole idea of these psychedelic mushrooms, that they're hiding these things from their conquerors. They're hiding these things from the Romans.
Right.
So I mean, imagine if you had access to God and you had a marauding, intrusive army that's about to come into, but you want to document all this stuff.
Right.
You have to kind of fucking document it in parables.
You have to hide it.
You have to hide it in stories.
Draw a fish in the sand to let people know
you're
a Christian, which is so cool. The underground Christianity is so cool. And the stories of the Christian saints getting fucking butchered and ignited and then like crying, not because they're being immolated, but for the people immolating them. Oh shit. That is so hardcore, man.
Hardcore.
And dude, to get back to your other thing, you know, about like that folder on the desktop. This is, if you want to understand, it always confused me, the whole born again thing. That's what they're talking about. Is like you have to like fucking get rid of that folder.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of that folder.
And also what's cool about it is it's saying you can. You don't have to like be that. You don't have to like continue on this like dark, shitty, neurotic, sad, depressed, selfish, greedy, angry, shadowy life. Like at any second, there is a way to enter the kingdom of heaven, which is apparently here, like stepping into another universe. What the Gnostics called gnosis, to wake up to like real reality and not the reality of the demiurge, which is what I would say if you want to find like what the demiurge is. It is the hypnotic zeitgeist that is being presented to us by hierarchical power structures that presents a universe of suffering and sorrow and hell
and danger
with no solution ever offered.
No one is safe.
No one is safe and nothing can fix it. No one will fix this, some version of that. And what you do is you hypnotize people. And now they worship you because they're connecting to fear. And so this is like the story of like, you know, you embody that force, call it whatever you want, Satan. You embody that force. And that,
Hitler embodied Satan.
Yeah, just follow me.
Imagine Hitler when he was, what's that famous speech that he gave? The one that's available, you could actually watch it on YouTube.
I don't know.
He was in front of this gigantic throng of people.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
I mean, he is the guy that's leading the Holocaust. He is the guy that's trying, and he's hopped up on meth.
High as a kite.
High as a kite on meth. They're shooting testosterone into him. He's out of his fucking mind.
Blasted.
They're giving him cocaine injections.
Look how high he is.
Can we hear some of this? Because it's...
dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes.
Now, if you're a regular person and you see someone talking with this kind of power, bro, you've seen him tweaking out at the Olympics?
Oh, dude.
That's my favorite Hitler.
Incredible
just
how high he is.
Hardcore tweaking. See if you can find that. Hitler tweaking. But see, that speech is fascinating because you're seeing it from there. But there's some speeches where you see like the size of the crowd that he was rallying for. Yeah,
dude,
there he is tweaking.
Not fun.
Now, if you wanted to bring Satan into the material world, you would do it through a guy like Hitler. That's essentially Satan in the material world. He essentially was Satan. He essentially was Satan. He was like a pawn of Satan. Like if Satan is a real thing, well, what is it? What is evil? It was, oh, you're being silly. Something. But if it is evil, it exists, right?
Embody evil.
The Holocaust was evil. What he did was evil. So how do you know that's not Satan? Like that's literally like satanic ideas.
He looks possessed.
Embedded in a human being.
Yeah.
Like that's real. That's a real thing. And you can call it evil. You can call it corrupted by money. You can call it corrupted by power. You can come up with a bunch of names for it. But it's just evil.
Slow it down, and he's still moving really fast.
Dude.
I thought they sped it up because the other guy's moving really fast too. But
well, I think cameras were kind of goofy back then, right?
Definitely the frame.
But he's just tweaking hard. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's tweaking hard.
It looks like he's getting like a rough back massage, but nobody's there.
Looks like he's fucking.
You can see his hand.
Oh, dude, he's about to pass out.
Bro, that
his
guy
other
was
hand is all curled. His left hand.
And everybody's so scared of him. No one's like, dude, relax. Why are you fucking rocking like that? Like, take some CBD.
Someone on a podcast had the story. It might have been Dan Carlin, but there was a story about when Hitler, maybe it wasn't, I'm not sure. Hitler went to visit Mussolini. And apparently he had just got back from a campaign and he was exhausted. And so they shot him up with testosterone and they shot him up with cocaine. And Mussolini was going to try to get out of the war. And Hitler just fucking cornered Mussolini and just talked at him for like 6 hours.
Fuck.
Mussolini's like, okay, I guess we're in.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine getting cornered by Hitler when you're on cocaine.
Coke. You're both on coke, probably. I bet everybody was on coke back then.
Dude, do you know the story of and I'm sorry.
Dr. Feelgood?
No, that's a good story.
Yeah.
You know the story of Diogenes? I don't know how
No.
to pronounce it. There's a story. This is some great philosopher, and Caesar hears about this great philosopher. Apparently, he was an ascetic. He's living by a river. He's eating out of like a dog bowl, but he's revered as this brilliant mind. And so Caesar goes to visit him with his chariot, the imperial regalia, because he wants to co-opt the philosopher. That's what the state wants to do, is to create a connection between the philosopher and the state. So he goes there and he says to him, I'll give you anything you want. Just, what is it? And he goes, can you move a few steps to the right? You're blocking the sun. The ultimate takedown of that bullshit. You're just a fucking person.
Yeah.
That's all you are. Whatever it is you've convinced other people to think you are, you're just like me. There's really no difference. And you just are doing everything you can to steal the limelight from nature, from God, from the light. It's so obvious. There's nothing there. It's smoke and mirrors. Wizard of Oz. It's when he comes out from behind the fucking curtain. There's nothing there. There's especially nothing compared to when you take the mushrooms that apparently inspire the Bible and you get the direct transmission.
Yeah.
And the direct transmission really doesn't give a shit about people like that. It's almost oblivious in a weird way.
But here's the question. Do you think that in order for significant cultural change, sometimes people like that have to exist to elicit outrage? And that's what wakes people up. That's what leads people to understand that you just can't just let these feeble minds run civilization. You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't, and you got to get involved, because if you don't get involved, they stay in power.
Right.
And the same fucking system corrupts your children, their children, everyone's children in the future. Everyone's a prisoner of this fucking stupid thing.
That's it.
And it's not worth it. It's not worth it even for the people that are perpetuating it, because you're not going to live forever. You're going to live and you're going to die, and everybody's on the same fucking path. We got to make it better for everybody. And the only way to make it better for everybody is you got to remove money and influence from any of these decisions. You can't let people make money because you've made decisions to kill folks. You can't let people make money because you've made decisions to imprison people.
Right.
You can't, and any of that.
You can't reward it. But, I think there's a precursor step. I mean, the first step is
mushrooms.
Even before you take the stop being an idolater. Like, in the fucking Bible, I always was confused. Like, what's this worshiping false idol shit? Because it just seemed odd. I was like, why the fuck does God give a shit about that? It created the universe, so what? They're like throwing flowers at a cow. Who fucking cares? But now in my old age, I get it, because it's obviously, it's representing, don't let anybody trick you into thinking that they're God. Don't let anybody trick you into thinking that they are some, whatever the fuck it is. Don't let a middleman tell you that he's got a direct line to the divine that you don't have. Because whatever that may be, whether it's literally God, whether it's some access to some world of scientific information that you're too dumb to understand, whatever it may be, don't fall prey. Don't succumb to that level of manipulation. And the best way to do that is to look for the truth. And for me, that's God. That's aligning with what I would think of as a transcendent, benevolent, ever-expanding consciousness. And then this is where the mushrooms come in. And that at that point, once you get a taste of that, then those tricks don't work anymore. They don't work as well. They could still work, but it doesn't work as well. It's like you're not going to, it's like if someone's giving you Wagyu steak, and then so they're like, hey, do you want to go eat delicious steak with me here, or should we just go to Sizzler? What are you going to say? What are you going to say? And so that's the idea. It's like those people are Sizzler. It's not, it doesn't, you, number one, you don't care as much that you might die because you've connected with something that seems to transcend death. And so then once you've done that, what power do they fucking have? Now you're not afraid to die. Now they're burning you alive and you're praying for them while you die. What?
Wow.
What a mind fuck.
What a mind fuck.
Watching someone you're emulating cry and pray for you because they see how lost you are. Ooh, that person is not sleeping anymore. Like, you're not sleeping after that. You it's so powerful. But you got to anchor yourself in something other than the world, or the world will drag your ass all over the place.
Well, the world that we live in is the world of the animal. We are animals, and we're so connected to this biological existence that has fueled our evolution. That's what we were a long time ago, and we still have that DNA, DNA of the survival animal that is being threatened, that's encroached upon by, it's just the competition of survival of the fittest amongst the breed. I mean, you can watch it, and you watch it in that Chimp Empire show. You watch the way chimpanzees do it. It's like we're an accelerated version of it.
That's it.
That's just us. And there's got to be an understanding of that. If we're going to, we got to understand that we're susceptible to like someone running things.
Right.
We're susceptible to a leader. It's a natural built-in. It's not like we see this person and like, that person is so good at life, they should probably run everything.
Sure.
It's not like that. It's like we just need someone.
Yeah.
Like, are you my daddy? You're not my daddy. You're my daddy for 4 years. But I'll tell you what, we're going to vote you out, daddy.
Get
and
a
we
new
need a new
daddy.
daddy. The country needs a new daddy.
Yeah.
You know, right
This
now we
daddy
got a Grampy.
sucks.
We got Grampy. Grampy's got problems, and we try to ignore it. You know, we try to pretend it doesn't exist, but, you know, everybody like knows.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna,
Get him out of here.
And then every 4 years you get a new daddy. And sometimes you hate daddy. Daddy sucks. Daddy's a racist.
It's like your mom
Daddy
keeps
doesn't
marrying
want Mexicans to
dudes.
get in here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, right. And the whole
Yeah.
And the whole fucking thing is so dumb.
So dumb.
Because what's really nuts is like you're spending, at least I'm basing this on scanning Twitter, apparently all of your day angry at the government or angry at people who don't like the government. And the whole time that that's happening, your life is just
rotting away,
rotting and melting away. Your chance to like be in the world and experience actual reality where the daddy is the seasons and the daddy is gravity and the daddy space. You miss all of that. And so you like, instead of like connecting to Sky Mind, as it's called sometimes, you're connecting to like this one pixel in a tiny little fragmentary part of human history, and you are generating powerful emotions from the machinations of whoever this person may be. It's very sad, just because you're missing out on the bigger picture. Probably. Like it's a bigger thing out there. How exciting! Like even if you're the most profound atheist in the world, do the experiment. Like do an experiment. Pray. Don't it doesn't matter how you pray. Pray like an asshole. Pray abusively towards God. Like do any form of prayer at all. You just have to be open-minded about what happens over the next few days. Just be open-minded. Throw in the mushrooms. See what happens. Because even if it's all bullshit and there's just something built into the DNA of humanity that when we invoke a deity, it makes our lives better, your life is better.
Yeah.
Even if it's some materialist explanation behind why the majority of people on the planet believe in prayer and it will claim that it's made their life better, great. You've figured out some like hack for your biology, you know? But what if it's real? Shit.
Well, what if it's real because of the hack?
Right.
What if that's what it is? It's like you just have to get your mind to a state where heaven is real. You get your mind to a state where there is a God.
Yeah. And it's not like you have to believe it forever either.
But also, if it's a God beyond your comprehension, beyond the comprehension of the mere mortal brain, to just even envision what that means, wouldn't it mean something that created the universe?
Sure.
Okay, well, something definitely created the universe. So if there is a God, it's left a giant fucking footprint. Right? It's letting you know it's done this.
A universe.
And you might say, well, it doesn't exist because there's not really a man in the clouds and there's not a guy with a beard, some patriarchal asshole who runs the world and doesn't like gays. That's not what we're talking about. That's the God of man. But whatever it is made the universe is a thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is that thing? Is it just chance? Is it just chance? Is it just atoms colliding? Is it just a bunch of chaos going on in a fucking hyperspace form? Is that what it is? Okay, maybe that's God. Maybe that thing is God.
Yeah.
Because it literally creates everything. So whatever that is.
At one level, it is that. At another level, it's a unified, harmonious event. Now, because the idea is that there's a distinction. Absolute reality, this is the sum total of all things. This is when you know you've taken the right dose of mushrooms where you are gone.
Yeah.
Unitive consciousness, you are now part of the whole. That's absolute reality. Relative reality is the chaos. One does not negate the other. The two are working together in this beautiful dance that they do with each other. And so if you get lost in one or the other, you're going to embarrass yourself. Like, this is the thing. It's like, if you get too caught up in absolute reality, then you're not paying your credit card bills. This is when Jesus said, offer unto Caesar what is Caesar's. It's like, you must acknowledge the material world because you're fucking in it and you got to pay bills.
Right. Doesn't it also mirror the free will argument? The free will versus determinism? Like, determinism states that you have no free will.
Right.
But clearly you do.
Yeah.
You know you make choices.
Absolutely.
We all make choices. The idea that these choices are only made because of the contents of your existence, kind of true, but also you can learn and make better choices next time. Like, there's something going on. So both things, I think, are going on.
Simultaneously.
But people want to be very dogmatic about it. They will argue to the death that it's only determinism, and people will argue to the death that free will is what really shapes the world.
Yeah.
And determinism is nonsense, and there's been plenty of examples of people that came from horrific backgrounds that grew to become exemplary people.
Yeah, the continuum runs from this kind of like, I don't know, eternalism and nihilism. That's the continuum.
Yeah.
So, when you get imbalanced in one or the other, there's like, it has a real effect on your life. But the idea is, for example, like, does God change? Well, maybe the personality of God changes. Maybe the idea that we aren't part of God, that if God is the totality of all things and the sum total of all lives that have ever lived outside and inside of time, you're part of God. You're part of the evolution of God.
Yeah.
You're part of the outgrowth or outflow of the divine consciousness. Like, that is who and what you are. And so you change, so God changes. In fact, it appears that God loves change because things are constantly changing within that creation, if you want to use that model.
Universe.
Yeah.
Nothing is in a static state.
Right, yeah.
Which is why it drives me crazy when people talk about controlling the climate. And I'm like, listen, we should definitely stop polluting. We should definitely stop releasing CO2 from emissions if we could do that. We should definitely stop doing all those things. We should definitely figure out a way to do something to stop the harm that industrial agriculture is doing to the earth.
Absolutely.
We definitely should figure that out. Also, this shit that's going to happen that you got no say in. Ice ages, super volcanoes, asteroid impacts.
Nuclear war.
Earthquakes.
Yeah.
There's some shit that goes down and has gone down, and that's what shaped the very mountains you're vacationing in, stupid. Like, that's literally the earth being upheaved through the bottom by molten lava.
Right.
The rise of the crust that creates these majestic peaks that you like to ski down, you fucking ape.
Yeah.
We have to protect nature. Like, nature's not going to protect you. I'll tell you that. It'll shake everything off and start again every fucking billion years if it wants to.
I think it's very scary at first if you really acknowledge the reality of how finite you are and how the planet that you're on is uncontrollable. And that maybe we can make some shifts. I'm not, obviously, clearly, carbon emissions, everything you said. Obviously.
Yeah.
First of all, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. Everyone wants clean water. Everyone wants clean air. We all want that. Stop pretending some part of your species is like, somebody dump some oil in that fucking ocean out there. I want some. it's very condescending, and I think it's like non-productive if your goal is to get everyone on board. Telling half of the people or whoever that they're fucking idiots is not going to get them to your rallies. Like there needs to be a little more compassion towards those people. But yeah, man, to deal with the real truth, which is like no one's going to remember you in about 200 years.
Yeah.
No one will think about you. No one's going to remember you. No one's going to care about you. No one will visit your grave. There will be no one dreaming of you because they're going to be dead and you're gone.
And it doesn't matter even if they do care about you.
Because you're gone.
You're gone.
You're out. You're out.
Gone.
You're out.
So I hope you did a good job of informing the people of everything you learned around you. And hug as many people so they miss you. But that's about it, buddy. We're all on some weird infinite journey.
And I think some people have gotten a little confused into thinking that what they don't understand that their attempt to like quote save the planet, which again, please do, is actually an attempt to keep themselves from dying.
Yeah,
they
that's
have
100%.
Right, that's what it is. It's
also a righteous ideology to attach yourself to that elevates your social standing. That's a problem with all environmental movements. There's a lot of people that run them that are douchebags. And there's a lot of people that run them that are beautiful, amazing people that really do just want to change the world. And then there's people that attach themselves to movements. Because if you attach yourself to a righteous movement, you must be a righteous person. And so it exonerates them of all their shitty personality traits because they can say, hey, man, I'm fucking doing this for the earth. You know, and they have all this shitty fucking energy that's attached to a cause that you probably support.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, man, how about fuck you? And then you don't even like the environment anymore. Now you want to use plastic straws. Fuck the turtles.
Yeah, man. I just don't see how a strategy that has built into it condescending aggression is going to create the massive changes that you are prescribing.
Yes.
How the fuck is it even going to work?
How is it possible?
You are ignoring the entire human biome and the psychology of that biome and thinking, what are you going to do? Shame people into not using plastic? Are you going to humiliate people?
What are you going to do? Yeah, what are you going to do?
How does that work?
It doesn't work. It's never going to work.
Yeah, it doesn't
I saw
work.
a meme online that was amazing. It was a paper straw in a plastic package. It's amazing looking at that, like how ridiculous that is.
Exactly.
How is that not in the Babylon Bee or something? Like is this real? They really have a paper straw that's wrapped in a plastic package?
Fucking crazy.
That's so nuts.
But
and did it really all come out of that one sea turtle that got a straw up his nose? That horrible video
that was
we all
the worst.
watched? That was horrible.
Yeah, it came because of that sea turtle.
I bet there was coke in that straw.
Some kind of like Atlantean Coke.
I think Joey Diaz actually said that.
That's funny.
A paper straw and plastic wrapper, the green movement in a single picture. I think I might have stolen that from Joey.
Joey, sorry. That's still a very funny joke.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where I heard that. I think it's Joey.
It's like, okay, let's think about the language of it, right? Okay, things are getting hot. We got to cool them down.
Yes.
Cool yourself down first, because this is the idea is you are part of the planet.
Yes.
And you're like, the energy that you are invoking every day is hot, angry, fiery
It
energy.
affects everyone around you, and then it affects them as they affect other people.
So since you're part of the planet, aside from doing all the things that make sense regarding carbon emissions or whatever it is that you think is going to fix things, you have to do something a lot harder than recycling.
Yeah.
You have to calm down and get real peaceful, because I think that's what you want in the world.
That's what everybody wants in the world. But it's just hard when you don't have it in yourself. So if you don't have it in yourself, you have to take control of your own biology and your own mind and help yourself first. Once you help yourself and you put that energy out there, you could affect the people around you. They can affect the people around them. That's why some neighborhoods are better than, not just because of economics, but also because some neighborhoods are like filled with nicer people.
Yeah.
It's like you get a good neighborhood. You got a good neighborhood. That's beautiful. You got a great neighbor. Like, hey, buddy, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, you're cool with them.
It's the best.
It's nice. It's actually fun. It's wonderful, I had the best fucking neighbor in California. He's the nicest guy. And his fucking house caught on fire, and my friend Bud actually had his house fire put out because he was friends with the firemen, and he stayed in while they evacuated. I was so happy that they saved this guy's house.
That's so cool.
Such a good dude. It's so nice when you do like people and you see him. Like, there's a guy in my neighborhood, and every time I drive by, he waves at me.
Yeah.
He's this old fella, and he's always like tending to his garden. He's out there in the front, and every time anybody drives by, this guy waves, and I wave to him, and I look forward to it. And I drive that way during the day because I know that he's going to be out there because I want to say hi. I want to wave.
See, that's it's so simple.
It's such a little love thing. We're just exchanging love.
Don't put your fucking condescending political sign in your yard. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like intentionally cutting you off from your fucking neighbors, presupposing that whatever their particular political ideologies are, they're brutes compared to you.
Right.
Stop doing that.
Stop.
You are creating the problem you're trying to fix.
Yeah.
Just via the mechanism you're using to fix the world is condescending, fucking patronizing signs designed to infuriate your fucking neighbors.
That is a weird one when you see those signs on people's lawns. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. How about you put "I love you" in your fucking yard? How about you do that? Or like, come over if you're hungry. Do that. That's badass.
I saw a dude in front of his house. He had a gigantic painted sign. There's a honk if you love Trump.
That is really...
He wanted everybody to honk in front of his house just all day. Fucking Frank.
Torturing.
Frank.
He's in there wearing...
That dude is not experiencing any peace.
No peace.
No peace.
No real peace, because real peace...
Also, fuck yous. A lot of fuck yous, I'm sure. People probably roll the window down and yell, fuck you.
Fuck you. You worship the golden calf.
Fucking
I worship
fascist.
the silver calf. It's a war of idolaters. You worship the monkey of light.
You dummy.
Yeah.
You fell for it.
You fell for it.
You sucker.
Yeah. It's
you
the
got taken in by
sparrow
the
of
Trump
wisdom.
cult.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, that MAGA cult.
Yeah. The whole time, the real reality is we're sharing a planet and we're all basically the same.
Yes.
And that's the truth.
That's the truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And some people are like confused and some people aren't. And the best thing to do is to like help.
Yeah.
Just help. Like your friend who put out the fucking fire.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, what? Wait, who did you vote for again?
Right. Well, I guarantee you that guy voted Democrat. My friend is not.
It's like altruism is non-political.
Well, it used to be. It used to be okay. It used to be okay to have differing political views.
Yes.
People used to have friends that were Republicans and friends that were Democrats, and everybody was okay together. Now everybody's like isolated in a tribe after Trump. Trump, because he's so bombastic and he's got so much ego and it's so crazy, like, I think even if he's good to get us away from the swamp, he's bad for the way people interact with each other because they hated him so much. There's never been a guy that people openly hated like that was running for president. I mean, name one that was president that people openly hated. Because even after 9/11, people were on his side.
Yeah.
After 9/11, I remember he made that speech, and we will get all those people that did that. We'll smoke them out of their holes. Like, we were like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, fuck yeah. The whole country had fucking American flags in their cars. People that are young that don't remember those days, maybe you're too young for it, it was a fundamental shift in the way everybody thought about everybody. People were letting people in. They were letting people change lanes. People were waving to people. It was weird. It was weird. Everybody had decided to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, man.
And join together. We realized, like, we're all in this together. We're all Americans.
Yeah, you can do in that,
You can do that without war.
You can do that without war, and you could do that the way you do, like, as above, so below. If we, regardless of whatever the fucking news is telling us why we should hate this person and why we should like that person, if we ignore all that shit, and we all just start finding ways to connect with each other, at the very least, just stop judging people as harshly as you are, I think the government will follow. I think, like, we'll wag the dog, so to speak, that the government is like a reflection of us, and that the more we, like, just delete that folder, abandon the fucking programming, abandon the way they've been separating us into so many ridiculous factions that are supposed to hate each other, the more we could expect the government to shift. And maybe that's naive.
It might not be naive. It might be the only way. And also the people that get into the government, people that grow up with this message, instead of being indoctrinated into that system, they come in there with like an eye for change, like a mind for change. It is possible. Change is always possible.
Yes.
We are the living embodiment of the fact that change is possible, right? We're the biggest experiment in self-government the world has ever known. And right now, there's factions of our world that are working to try to undermine the whole self-government aspect of it.
Well, yeah, it's because the federal fucking government doesn't need to be that big. I mean, like we have this like gargantuan fucking massive federal government that needs to get pared down, but
it wants to keep power,
and it wants to divide.
There's a lot of people in there. There's a lot of people in there that need to be paid. There's a lot of money flowing.
We're supposed to be on the same team.
Yes, we're all supposed to be Americans, and that brings me back to the aliens.
Yes,
because if there is anything that's going to wake people the fuck up to how weird this whole thing is.
Yeah.
Is if all these people that are coming forward, all these people that are talking about us having retrieved alien crafts, the Varginha incident in Brazil, that they documented in that film, A Moment of Contact, which is amazing, James Fox movie. I don't know if you've seen it. It's fucking incredible. It seems like there was a crashed UFO. It seems like there was a crashed UFO in Varginha, Brazil in 1996. And it's like and you go into the town, they have a replica of it that's at the beginning of the town. Like it's like as you're entering into the town, they have a fucking UFO. Everyone who was alive back then has a story of seeing these things flying through the air.
Yeah.
The people that made contact with these creatures, one of them died of a horrible bacterial infection. There's record of them transporting it to 3 different hospitals.
Whoa.
Yeah, wild shit, man. Wild shit. They did an autopsy on it, supposedly. The Air Force supposedly flew into Varginha, Brazil, and came back with the wreckage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why did Brazil give oh, you mean the Brazilian Air Force?
The United States Air
Why
Force.
did they give away their UFO?
Because they probably had to. There's probably, look, governments give countries aid. They do this, they do that. We work this, we'll protect you from that. We'll do this to help you from that. There's a lot of weird shit going on. And if there's one country that really does have both possession of crashed UFOs and has a whole division, a secret division, where they find crashed UFOs and retrieve them.
Yeah.
And this is what this guy David Grush is saying.
Yeah.
He's saying they do have that, and they are in possession of that. And then they're lying to Congress. They're not showing Congress this, and they're not showing the American people this. But if they did, if we knew how much of, I mean, that's the Ronald Reagan speech to the United Nations. Did you ever hear that speech?
Yeah, sure.
It's an amazing speech.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it made all the people, the UFO dorks, go, yes!
Right.
It's real! But there was nothing forever. Nothing. To be a UFO fanatic from like 1980 to like 2017, you had to be a moron.
Come on!
I was a moron. Look, I was one of those guys. But there was not much. You weren't getting much. You'd occasionally get a book. I remember...
I mean, Roswell. You had Roswell.
You did have Roswell, but you also had some weird stuff. And one of the weird things we had was the abduction phenomenon. That was very weird.
Well,
and the guy from Harvard, John Mack, who did all those hypnotic regression sessions with people that claimed to have been abducted, and they were eerily similar.
Yeah.
Eerily similar. But apparently, people have like questioned his methodology, and people have questioned like the leading nature of whether or not he led people into these thoughts. You know, like by questioning them, asking them,
okay,
what have you experienced? Have you been encountering UFOs as an alien? I don't know what he asked.
You know what it's called? Swamp gassing. You know what that term swamp gassing?
No, what's that? You attribute,
So people are having legitimate experiences all around the fucking planet, and then people are like, they're all crazy,
right?
Or they were all tricked into saying something.
What are the criticisms of John? See if you can find Google criticisms of John Mack, abduction hypnotherapy.
Man, I gotta use the bathroom.
Piss, right? This is the problem with these things. Like we have a zipper on the back.
Oh no!
Yeah, I gotta unzip you here before you can pee. I was wondering how I can. Should we end this? We're at like 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yeah, it's been 4 hours.
Dude, we can't end it on the middle of a UFO thing. We gotta finish out the. I will hold.
Okay.
I will piss in my fucking furry outfit.
Well, we don't have to. We could just end.
No, let's. No, I mean.
What do you
I
mean?
like to. That's
Wrap this
something.
up. I got it.
I don't
What's
want. That's something Meow Meow does.
What do you got?
The John Mack thing. I remember talking
Oh,
about
the John Mack
this.
thing. Yeah,
The-
that's right.
I can't
How are you
remember the-
doing? You all right over there with your pee-pee? It's hard, right? It's
Something
hard to
about it.
concentrate.
Meow Meow likes to pee on himself.
No, meow, meow. Don't do it in my studio. Ari's already done that. Ari's pissed in here half a dozen times. In the old one, he used to like piss in kombucha bottles. Yeah. So he interviewed all those children in Zimbabwe that had a mass sighting, and that one's
crazy.
Very compelling. Very, very, very compelling. Because all these kids have the same story, and he talks to them independently, and they all have the same story. Look, man, if these fucking whistleblowers are telling the truth, we have been visited.
Yeah.
And these kids are telling the truth, which makes way more sense than they're all just lying and they all have the same story.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It's going to be so fun to go back through every single, like, one of these events that we have, like, rolled our eyes at from the perspective that we have UFOs.
Can you play some of this, Jamie?
Yeah,
so
I
you
was
can
gonna
hear
say, when I remember reading about this, though, I would just want to add this in. I read that this is antithetical to what he's saying or what we're hearing right now. He spoke to all these kids in like a big room. There's like 60 kids, and he talked to them all at once and asked and sort of was like leading them on questions. Did you see this? Did you see that? And a couple of them did. And then when they're in this environment where he's talking to them one-on-one, they're kind of all remembering what they talked about in that room.
Oh,
that's what I read.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's exactly what happened, but that's what I read to be like.
But let's hear the kids talk. Let me
Where
hear.
was the pointy part? Was the pointy part in here, or was the pointy part out there, up there? And what was the feeling
Back
when
it
you
up,
looked
Jamie,
at
so I
the
can hear
eyes?
what he's talking about here.
Like a pointy part out there.
No.
Did you see the eyes?
Yeah, here it is.
What did they look like?
They were going like that.
Where was the pointy part? Was the pointy part in here, or was the pointy part out there, up there? And what was the feeling when you looked at the eyes?
It was scary.
Mm-hmm. And what scary? Why? What made it scary?
The eyes looked evil.
Evil. And what was evil about them? Say what you mean by evil.
It looked evil because it was just staring at me.
With what? Staring at you as if what? As if to do what?
As if it wanted to come and take us.
As if it wanted to come and take you. That was the feeling you got? That it wanted you to go with it? Did you feel like you wanted to go with it? No. Did you feel, what was the effect on you when you felt it wanted to have you go with it? What happened?
I just walked away and I started crying.
They came running up here in such a panic. And, I mean, even if we had staged it, they could not have run all together like that. Even if we practiced it, I don't know how many times. But they came up here like a living snake. And they just came, we were in a staff meeting and we just heard them screaming, ah, and then they were here, you know, and a child can't make that up.
I
Wow.
was very skeptical in the beginning as well. I believed that they'd seen something, but I wasn't prepared to accept that it was anything supernatural or anything like that.
So
But I
if
think
we
because-
know now that they actually do visit,
Yeah.
and that there actually has been some sort of contact, and when
Yeah.
that guy was describing, you have physical bodies. He's saying if you have a crashed vehicle, sometimes you have a dead pilot. That was his way of describing it.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
That means they come and there's an actual alien.
Yeah.
So imagine you're in Zimbabwe and you're a kid just hanging out at school, and a fucking actual UFO lands and aliens get out, and you think they're thinking about taking you.
Yeah.
And that was kind of planted in her head by him, I felt like.
Right.
I felt like that was kind of leading. Like he led her to say that. I feel like there's a way that you could have talked to her. First of all, you'd have to calm her down first. My strategy would be to get her very relaxed talking first. I don't know if they did that, but ask her a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
What do you like to do? What's your favorite part of school? What's your favorite subject? You play any sports? Do you have any games you like?
Yeah.
Just talk about it. Kids love to talk about things they like to talk about.
Right.
And then go, I'm really sorry this happened to you, but can you tell me what happened?
Yeah.
And then just let them talk. Let them talk. And you don't say, did you feel like it was trying to take you?
Right.
Like, don't
plant
I think
anything.
I think with a little kid, you have to say, so why was it evil? Was it evil because you couldn't see their eyeball because their eyes were different?
Right.
You know, like what felt evil? Because like if you look into a fucking eagle's eyes, they look evil.
Sure.
Eagles look evil. Their eyes are looking at you like this.
They're
Like
glaring.
If an eagle was as big as you, it would be fucking terrifying.
Dude, that would be the worst, but you could saddle them.
But do you know they used to have a bird like that? It was called a terror bird. It was like an enormous bird that lived in North America that was like, I think it was way bigger than like a human being. They were fucking huge. Huge predatory birds that didn't fly. You ever heard of these things?
Terror birds?
Terror birds. Yeah. Google terror birds. There was these ancient birds that lived, oh, fuck, I don't know how long ago, man, but they were fucking enormous. Look, there's some images of like what one looked like next to, the up top where it looked like, no, up top. That's how big they were.
So you could have
compared to
ridden one of
humans.
these.
Oh yeah, fucking for sure. If it didn't eat your dick immediately,
It would.
It would
too.
swallow you whole. You ever see like a fucking pelican swallow a seagull whole?
Dude,
that would
it's-
be what it would be doing to a
Just
human.
gulp you down.
That was a real animal, dude.
That is how I would dress if I
Look at
rode
that.
one.
Imagine if you could fucking get one of those things to follow your lead. Look, he's got a thing in its mouth, a bridle. But the reality was, I think they were way before people. Like, when did these things exist? Terror bird. When did it exist here? Size of these motherfuckers.
Terror
dude.
bird.
What an awesome name for a bird,
Fucking
too.
cool.
They range from 3 meters to 10 feet. What does it say?
This
You
is,
cut it out there.
66
So it says
million
they
years.
range from 1 to 3 meters, so 3 to 10 feet. So a big one was 10 feet tall. So 53 to, 100,000 years ago. So they lived alongside human beings. Oh my God.
Fuck that.
Oh my God. No wonder why they're dead. We probably fucking slayed
We
those
got rid of
cunts.
them.
It says there's even a slightly smaller version that dating to 18,000 and 96,000 years ago. So
Oh my
18,000 is even
God.
closer.
Dude,
depending on how
imagine
much
what those
smaller.
talons could do to you.
Click on that one, the relatively small one. How big is that? Relatively small.
Look at that dagger beak.
What does it say?
2.6
feet.
820 pounds.
You've
Tough to
seen
ride
that shoe bill, right? You've seen that fucking creepy thing that lives in the Congo?
No, man, I
You ever
come
seen
here
a
for
shoe bill?
all my biology because, like, you show me.
Dude, shoe bills are
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
I've seen that. Those things
They're
are cool.
huge, too. Shoe bills are like 4 feet tall. This giant-ass bird. And they clack their teeth together. They clack their bills together. Like, tat, 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 tat. You never heard it?
No.
Get a bit.
Fuck that. Get out of my yard.
That's how they let you know they're coming. Look at those eyes. If you're a little kid and you see that eye getting out of a spaceship, you'd be like, what the fuck, man?
Look at that
Look
thing.
at that thing. Look at that motherfucker. And they fuck fish up. They fuck fish up. There's a crazy video of a shoebill. There it is. It's eating a snakehead fish. So those snakehead fishes, those fish get out of the water and they walk on land to try to find more water. And so you have this fucking dinosaur fish getting eaten by this dinosaur bird.
You finally make it out of your lake, and that fucking
and
thing
that
eats.
thing.
Dude, we're so lucky we got born as humans.
And you're walking like this. Like, Jesus Christ, get me to the water. Get me to the fucking water. Nope.
Nope.
The clamps of death. Look at those
Look,
things.
you've showed up. You've been promoting these birds.
That's so meta. Ah!
2,000 episodes,
2,000
man.
episodes, my brother. And you've been there from the very beginning. So we've had some of my very favorite fun podcasts. And I
Same.
think this is my favorite of all of them. I love you to death, brother.
Likewise, I
You're
love
the
you
man.
too, Joe. You're the best. Thank you so much.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for doing this show.
My
Thanks for letting me
pleasure.
be on it.
Please, and thank you for Duncan Trussell Family Hour. That's my favorite podcast.
Oh, my brother.
I
Thank you.
listen to your podcast all the time. It's
No, you
awesome.
don't. Don't tell me
I
that. I'll
do.
get nervous.
You have the best ads of all time. You
Thanks,
really do.
man.
And when I need something fun, interesting, I go to your podcast all the time. It's amazing.
Man.
And all the different episodes that we've done, all the different outfits. I think my favorite was when we were dressed up like clowns and they quoted us on Fox News.
One of the greatest moments of my life.
Well, they'll probably do that with this one with furries.
Joe, can I plug one show?
Yeah, please do.
Coming up, Dania Beach Improv. You can find the ticket links at DuncanTrussell.com.
You dude, you're the fucking man. I love you to death.
Hare Krishna.
I'm
Thank
so
you,
glad
Joe.
you're out here too.
Oh, thanks for luring us all out here, man. We love Austin. Thank you. I love
I'm
Austin.
happy too. There it is. Dania Beach, Florida.
That was shit.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so weird,
oh my
dude.
God, that's nuts. That's nuts. How is that possible?
I don't know, man, because I generated that with an AI.
Wow, that's weird. And on that note,
Goodbye.